Chapter 3209. Lin Xian nodded slightly. Don't worry, you guys can go ahead. After hearing Lin Xian's words, the Qi family's patriarch, Jin Yuanzi, and Xiao Wu stood up. In an instant, everyone went forward to welcome the newcomer. Only Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were stunned. Welcome that person? What a joke. The Crimson Dragon wouldn't, and neither would Lin Xian. In front of them, endless light shone, and the gray world was lit up again. Under the respectful and expectant gazes of countless people, a young figure flew over. His body shone brightly, and his face was handsome. His aura was majestic, just like a heavenly emperor. Under his feet, there were 4 shadows of the azure dragon, the white tiger, the vermilion bird, and the black tortoise. They formed a path of light, carrying him as he flew over. The 4 divine beasts accompanied him. Heavens, this young Master Yin is incredible. He is definitely a future great emperor. Exclamations rang out one after another. The young martial artists looked at each other with envy. Some of the female geniuses even wanted to jump into his arms. Welcome, young Master Yin. The half-saints cupped their fists. An old man from the White Crane race walked over with a chuckle. Young Master Yin had arrived. Brother White Crane, you don't have to be so polite. Young Master Yin smiled. He looked at the old man and ignored the others. Young Master Yin, please. The White Crane family's patriarch smiled. Instantly, wherever he pointed, everyone backed away. The half-saints didn't dare to block his path. Yin Nantian took a step forward, and the 4 divine beasts circled around his feet, carrying him as he walked forward quickly. The White Crane family's patriarch followed beside him, followed by the White Crane family's experts, and then the half-saints from the other families and sections. Everyone followed behind him. It was a spectacular scene, as if they were welcoming a heavenly emperor. Humph, what a grand scene. A cold snort was heard from below. The Crimson Dragon gritted his teeth. This guy is too pretentious. I really want to beat him up. His cold snort was very ear-piercing among the many compliments. In an instant, the half-saints were stunned. Heavens, who is this? He actually dared to provoke young Master Yin at this time? They looked down. When they saw Lin Xian, the Crimson Dragon, their expressions froze. This kid again? Earlier on, this kid was already acting recklessly by provoking the White Crane tribe. Was he trying to provoke young Master Yin now? This was the successor of a great emperor. Didn't you see that even the White Crane clan had to treat them with care? The White Crane clan naturally saw this as well. Immediately, they began to sneer coldly. This reckless kid dared to offend young Master Yin? Very well, let's see how he dies. Up ahead, young Master Yin stopped and frowned as he looked down. The next moment, he was surprised. Originally, he thought that it was some reckless person who dared to provoke him. However, when he saw the other party, he was stunned. It's you. He revealed a hint of surprise. The people of the White Crane clan were stunned. The other half-saints in the surroundings were also stunned. Heavens, could it be that young Master Yin knew him? This was especially true for the people of the White Crane clan. Their hearts were beating wildly. That brat below couldn't be young Master Yan's friend, right? If that was the case, things would be difficult to handle. They had wanted to kill the other party before. They didn't expect to see him here. Lin Xian also felt a little strange because he knew the person who was being greeted by the crowd. It was Yin Nantian. At that time, he knew that Yin Nantian had already left the house of outstanding scholars in advance. He didn't expect him to appear here. Could it be that there was something in the abyss? Even the other party was attracted here? This made Lin Xian even more curious. They really knew each other. The surrounding half-saints exclaimed. No wonder this brat was so arrogant. It turned out that he knew Yin Nantian. Could it be that the two of them were friends? The eyelids of the people of the White Crane clan twitched wildly. The White Crane clan ancestor also asked carefully, Young Master Yin, is this your friend? He couldn't be considered a friend. Yin Nantian shook his head slightly with a trace of cold light in his eyes. The White Crane clan's old ancestor was extremely experienced. In an instant, he caught sight of the light. Immediately, he was shocked. It seemed that young Master Yin didn't like the brat below. Perhaps, the two of them were sworn enemies. Thinking of this, he heaved a sigh of relief. Yin Nantian looked down, his eyes flickering with cold light. Did you come here to enter the abyss too? However, I advise you to go back. You can't possibly catch up to me. Yin Nantian's voice was loud and clear. Below his feet, the phantoms of the four divine beasts danced. Previously, in the true spirit world, he and Lin Xian were named as one of the five great geniuses. He was the South Emperor, and the other was the Central Emperor. However, he was very low-key at that time. Although his reputation was resounding, the number of times he really fought in front of the public was not many. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was different. Lin Xian rose to power and slaughtered his way through the world. Especially during the Dark Age, he single-handedly turned the tide and saved the entire human race. It could be said that after the Great Dark Turmoil, Lin Xian's reputation completely overshadowed the other four great geniuses. Perhaps even Yi Wudao couldn't be compared to him. As for him, he was even more inferior than him. At that time, people often compared and thought that Lin Xian was the one most likely to become a great emperor. How could Yin Nantian tolerate this? He was the successor of a great emperor. But fortunately, everything changed when he stepped on the ancient starry sky path. With the inheritance of a great emperor, he obtained countless mysterious methods. His strength advanced by leaps and bounds, and he finally reached the half-step sage realm in advance of the younger generation. And the laws he comprehended were numerous. Now, he had already comprehended 4 law fragments. It could be said that he had surpassed everything. He was confident that he could shake off the other geniuses and become a great emperor. Now that he saw Lin Xian, he naturally wouldn't be polite. Follow in your footsteps? Who do you think you are to need me to follow you? Lin Xian stood proudly. Yin Nantian? It wasn't like he hadn't fought before. Although the other party had the inheritance of a great emperor. So what? When these words came out, everyone's scalps went numb. Heavens, this Brad is provoking Yin Nantian again? It's unbelievable. The people of the White Crane clan were stunned. Then they were ecstatic. Someone came out and shouted coldly, "Shut up, Lin Wudi. Are you courting death? How dare you provoke young Master Yin? What did you call him?" Yin Nantian frowned. Lin Wudi? This name made him very unhappy. Reporting to young Master Yin, this person calls himself Lin Wudi. We originally thought that he was your friend, but we didn't expect him to be so reckless. Young Master, do you need us to take action? The people of the White Crane clan quickly asked. Calling himself Lin Wudi? Yin Nantian was stunned. Then he sneered. Lin Xian, you're too arrogant. There are so many powerhouses on the ancient starry sky path. Even I don't dare to call myself Wudi, and you dare to call yourself Lin Wudi? You don't dare because you can't. But I'm different. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous. Chapter 32:10. Without an invincible heart, how could one walk the path of the future? How reckless! Yin Nantian shook his head slightly, ignoring him. He retracted his gaze from Lin Xian. In his opinion, Lin Xian was too arrogant. Invincible. Only after becoming a great emperor would he dare to say that. Before that, who would dare to call themselves invincible? If he did not dare, the half-sages would not dare either. The sages would not dare either. Even the princes and princesses would not dare to do so. How could he call himself invincible? Why? Such an arrogant person would die on the ancient path of the stars sooner or later. Therefore, Yin Nantian did not need to pay attention to him. Hee kid, you really don't know what's good for you. How dare you offend young Master Yin? Young Master Yin is the successor of a great emperor. Until now, he has comprehended 4 types of laws. Can you compare? That's right. How dare you call yourself invincible? Who do you think you are? The elites of the White Crane tribe sneered. They followed Yin Nantian into the distance. As soon as he said that, the Qi family patriarch and the others felt their scalps go numb. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. For types of laws? What a surprise. Indeed, to this extent, Yin Nantian had indeed surpassed him. But so what? Yin Nantian was only a half-sage now. He had comprehended 4 types of laws at most. Although he had 2 more than him, Lin Xian was confident that he would not fear Yin Nantian even if they fought. In fact, he could even suppress Yin Nantian. After all, Although he only had 2 types of laws, he had the Great Dragon Sword Soul. The power of these 2 types of laws was terrifying. He was confident that he could fight a sage. Where were they going? The Crimson Dragon was also very surprised. These people seem to have some purpose. Come, let's follow them and see. Lin Xian waved his hand and stepped into the air with the Crimson Dragon, walking forward. The Qi family patriarch and the others thought for a while, then gritted their teeth and followed. Yin Nantian walked forward, surrounded by a group of people. Soon, he stopped in the void and looked down. There was an endless abyss below, as if it was connected to hell. These half-sages felt their scalps go numb. Yin Nantian's eyes flashed. It was about time to open. As soon as he said that, the other half-sages felt their hearts burn. Have you all gathered the invitation letters of the abyss? Although there aren't many, it's enough for me to go in this time. This time, I can bring a few disciples with me to give it a try. The half-sages began to talk in low voices. Of the abyss, invitation of the abyss? Invitation of the invitation? Could it be that someone wanted to send out an invitation?
Yes.
You? Invitation of... The people from the White Crane clan sneered. You don't even have an invitation, and you dare to come here? 2. At that moment, a young man from the White Crane clan waved his arm. In his hand was a gray-white invitation card. There was a ghostly face drawn on the front and an endless abyss on the back. See? This is the invitation letter. You don't even have it, and you want to enter the abyss? What a joke. Buzz. A sword light flashed and split the young man. The next moment, a flaming hand enveloped the invitation letter and delivered it to Lin Xian. Now, he had it. Lin Xian killed the other party with a sword and then held the gray-white invitation letter. He narrowed his eyes. Was this the invitation letter of the abyss? With it, he could enter the abyss. Damn brat, you're courting death. The people of the White Crane clan were crazy. Damn you. You're too despicable. You killed another one of their prodigies. Lin Xian ignored the roars of the White Crane clan. He looked at the Crimson Dragon. Rizalong, think of a way to get one too. I think the White Crane clan should have many more invitation letters. Hee, I have the same plan. The Crimson Dragon's eyes moved. Suddenly, he attacked. You're courting death. The middle-aged half-sage who attacked Lin Xian previously could no longer hold back and attacked crazily. The battle between the 2 half-sages was earth-shattering. In an instant, the surrounding people retreated again. Yin Nantian stood in the void with his hands behind his back. He frowned slightly when he saw this scene. This dragon and Lin Xian were too arrogant. However, he had not made a move yet, because it was inconvenient for him to make a move now. His target was the abyss below. The Crimson Dragon and the half-sage fought fiercely. In the end, the half-sage of the White Crane clan screamed and his body exploded. Buzz. The Crimson Dragon directly grabbed an invitation letter from the other party's body and roared. Haha, Ben Huang has won too. Damn it. The powerhouses of the White Crane clan roared. However, they did not dare to make a move rashly. They realized that the dragon's death was too terrifying. They were not confident unless they attacked together. However, they also had to prepare to enter the abyss. If they attacked now, they would be in a passive position in the abyss. Damn it, let's not care about those 2 anymore. Our main task is to enter the abyss. This time, we must get a good ranking in the abyss. The powerhouses of the White Crane clan gritted their teeth. The Qi family's patriarch and the others looked at each other and smiled bitterly. They did not prepare any invitation letters. Moreover, they did not know about it before. Could it be that there was no hope for them to enter this time? The invitation letters were obtained by killing the Een ghosts that fell into the abyss. If you want it, you can kill some Een ghosts. You might have a chance to get it. At this moment, someone sent a voice transmission to Jin Yuanzi. It was one of Jin Yuanzi's friends. Jin Yuanzi's eyes lit up when he heard this. He quickly told the Qi family's patriarch and the others. At the same time, he also sent a voice transmission to Lin Xian. They were ready to give it a try. Lin Xian was even more curious. What was in the abyss? Why did it attract so many half-sages? Even Yin Nantian was attracted to it. Also, what was the use of the invitation letter? However, he soon understood. The ground below split open again, and the entrance to the abyss appeared as if it was going to swallow them. Boom, boom, boom. On the other side of the big crack, a grayish-white stone tablet slowly stretched out. The stone tablet was very tall, and it was densely covered with names. If one took a closer look, they would realize that the names were of different colors. The names at the top were purple. They exuded an extremely noble aura. Imperial Mausoleum, Long Tianjiao, Yin Ruyu, Zhao Wuliang, Northern Yao. These were the names of the people at the front. Their names were all purple. Lin Xian saw two familiar faces, Yin Ruyu and Northern Yao. It seemed that the two of them had also entered and obtained good results. Lin Xian was shocked. The other half-sages around him exclaimed, "Heavens, they were indeed the top elites and elites. Were these people famous?" There were also some young martial artists who came with the patriarch, so they did not know the names on the tablets. Chapter 32:11. A half-saint ancestor took a deep breath and explained to his juniors. The names on the stone tablet all had great backgrounds, and some were not weaker than young Master Yin. Some were even stronger than young Master Yin. What? Stronger than young Master Yin? The young geniuses were shocked when they heard this. Some of them had just stepped onto the ancient path of the stars, while others had not and were preparing. The most powerful expert they knew was the successor of a great emperor, Yin Nantian. He had comprehended 4 law fragments. Such a person was so powerful. Don't you see that even their patriarchs respect the other party? But now, they knew that there was someone even stronger than Yin Nantian on the stone tablet. Just how terrifying was the heavens? You underestimated the universe. There was more than one successor of a great emperor on the ancient path of the stars. Other successors of great emperors would appear as well. Moreover, they might awaken earlier than young Master Yin. Other descendants of great emperors would appear as well. Lin Xian was also shocked when he heard this. It seemed that the first-ranked Imperial Mausoleum was extremely unusual. He was getting more and more interested in the abyss. Buzz. Someone moved in front. The first to enter was not Yin Nantian, but a powerhouse of the White Crane race. The half-saint raised the invitation letter in his hand and wrote his name on it with his blood. Then, he let go of the invitation letter, and it sank into the stone tablet. The abyss below shone brightly and enveloped him. In the next moment, the half-saint completely disappeared into the abyss. The White Crane clan and the surrounding half-sages waited anxiously. They stared at the tall stone tablet in front of them, as if they wanted to see the other party's name. Should they go up? After waiting for half an hour, the space in front of them rippled, and the half-saint who had entered before walked out. His face was gloomy. He came out? The surrounding people were stunned. The half-saint of the White Crane race exclaimed, "Damn it! How could there be no name? How is this possible? Which level did you enter?" They asked hurriedly. The half-saint's face was ugly, and he sighed. "I only entered the 4th level. I was still a bit away from the 5th level. Only the 4th level?" Many half-saints were stunned. They also knew that this half-saint of the White Crane clan was very powerful. Among them, he was considered to be above average. However, such a person was only able to reach the 4th floor. He did not even manage to reach the 5th floor. In fact, he was not even qualified to leave his name on the stele. This really shocked them. Could it be that the abyss was really that terrifying? On the other hand, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The 4th floor didn't have the right to carve their names, so it seemed like the next floor was some sort of challenge. He guessed in his heart, "I'll go." At this moment, a young-looking expert from the White Crane clan walked out. He looked to be in his 30s and had a powerful aura. However, his actual age was already more than 1,500 years old. It was just that he had a way to retain his youthful looks. He also used his blood to write his name on the abyss invitation letter. Then, he placed the invitation letter on the stone stele. Then, his body also entered the abyss below. This time, it took a longer time. When he came out, countless people cried out in surprise. His name finally appeared. Sure enough, Lin Xian also noticed that there was one more white name at the bottom of the stone stele. It seemed that it was the person who had just entered. The expert from the White Crane clan who came out also looked a little upset when he saw this scene. Although his name was on the stone stele, it seemed to be at the lowest level. How could he, who had always been proud, tolerate this? Which floor did you enter? The White Crane clan's ancestor hurriedly asked. The 7th floor. Next, some other half-saints entered. In addition to the White Crane clan, there were half-saints from other clans and sects who entered one after another. Even some young martial artists entered. For example, there were 2 young martial artists from the White Crane clan who entered. However, the speed at which they came out was very fast. The 2 of them looked very upset. One of them did not even pass the 1st floor, while the other only passed the 1st floor and was defeated on the 2nd floor. Seeing this scene, the other martial artists who had comprehended something close to Tao shook their heads and sighed. It seemed that there was no hope. Perhaps only half-saints could write their names on the stone stele. After looking at it for so long, Lin Xian also understood what was written. This should be an extremely important trial ground on the ancient starry sky path. Those who entered the 5th floor and below were not qualified to have their names engraved. Those who entered the 5th floor and above were qualified. However, the 5th floor to the 10th floor should be the lowest level and belong to the category of white names. Above the 10th floor, there were other colors. According to his observation, he found that every 5th floor should be considered a level. He found that some people who passed the 10th floor and above had a look of joy after returning. Obviously, they had received some kind of benefit. Thinking of this, Lin Xian's eyes burned with passion. The crimson dragon at the side was also eager to give it a try. At this moment, everyone exclaimed because they found that a person's name had appeared on the stone stele, and that name was Orange. Among all the names, Orange was considered to be the best because there were a total of 5 colors on the stone stele. Purple was the best of all. Then there was orange. The middle was blue, green, and the last was white. Orange could be said to be second only to purple. This scene really stunned the half-saints. Heavens, that must be the elite of the tiger dragon tribe. Yes, it's him. I know him. He's very powerful, and he also walked the ancient path of stars this time. They didn't expect him to be so powerful. It seemed that he had reached the 15th floor. But as for which floor he had reached, they didn't know yet. After the elite of the tiger dragon tribe came out, he looked up to the sky and laughed. He was really too excited. Although he couldn't be compared to the best, he could be said to be very powerful. Other than Yin Nantian, Lin Xian, and the others, everyone else was envious. Because this was the highest one so far. Most people had white, green, and blue names. There were very few of them. Not to mention, it was orange. Buzz. At this moment, Yin Nantian made his move. His movement immediately attracted everyone's attention. Heavens, young Master Yin was about to make his move. Young Master Yan's name was definitely purple. That was for sure. But they didn't know where his name would be ranked. Although they were all purple names, there was a hierarchy. For example, the first name now was D-Ling. They didn't know where Yin Nantian would be ranked. Chapter 32:12. Even Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Although he was not afraid of Yin Nantian, he had to admit that Yin Nantian was indeed an expert. Moreover, the successor of a great emperor was definitely not to be underestimated. Buzz. Yin Nantian entered under everyone's expectant gazes. The others began to discuss. Buzz. At this moment, there was another fluctuation in the distance. Figures flew over quickly from afar, bringing with them a powerful aura. As soon as they arrived, they let out a long whistle. Has it already begun? It doesn't matter. Even if it has begun, we can continue. The arrival of these people attracted the attention of the half-saints in front. In the next moment, they all turned their heads. Soon, someone exclaimed in surprise. Wang Chun, Ji Bai, Yu Hong, and his brothers. Everyone exclaimed in surprise. Oh my God! These were all very famous experts on the ancient path of the starry sky. They were all here. This time, there were not many people, only a few dozen. However, without exception, every one of them was an expert. Every one of them shocked the half-saints here. This was because these people were experts on the ancient path of the starry sky. They had set foot on the ancient path of the starry sky long ago and made a name for themselves on the ancient path of the starry sky. They did not expect that they would also come here this time. Wang Qin's name was Orange, and he was ranked 26th. His strength could be said to be very strong. Jibai was very terrifying, and he was ranked 19th in Orange. Yu Hong and his brothers were also very terrifying. They were all experts with orange names. Everyone exclaimed in surprise, while the others were shocked. These people's names were all on the stone tablet. It was obvious that they had been here before and had done well. This time, he should be breaking in again, right? In other words, they could come here more than once. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He wondered if there would be any other rewards if he came again. There should be. Otherwise, these people would not have come. He looked at the black stone tablet. On the black stone tablet, there were a total of 11 people with purple names and 49 people with orange names. Although the ranking changed, the color of the name would not change. For example, before Yin Nantian, there were 10 people with purple names. After Yin Nantian, there were 11 names. As for the names below orange, he did not pay attention to them. There were a lot of people there. Although they were all top-notch experts in the outside world, they were still nothing in his eyes. In fact, he didn't even care about the people in front of him. Who was the one who went in? A burly man said coldly. His name was Dongfang Yi, and he was also a genius with an orange name. The half-saint who was being questioned shivered and forced himself to answer. It was young Master Yin. Young Master Yin? Which young Master Yin? Dongfang Yi had a dissatisfied expression. It was Yin Nantian, young Master Yin. The half-saint at the front braced himself and said. When he said that, Dongfang Yi was stunned. The newcomers were also stunned. Yin Nantian, the successor of the legendary great emperor? Who would have thought that he would come as well? Behind him, Jibai, Yu Hong, and the others had solemn expressions as well. They could disregard the others, but they had no choice but to be careful when dealing with this successor of a great emperor. All of a sudden, the expressions of these people turned incomparably grave. They were also waiting quietly, wondering what rank Yin Nantian would achieve. Yin Nantian had been in there for a very long time, longer than all the others combined. Evidently, the other party's ranking would also be very high. Now, these experts already knew that Yin Nantian should be able to obtain a purple name. But what rank would he be among the purple names? That was not certain. Kid, the Northern Demon, is also impressive. He could be ranked 5th here not long after leaving the extraordinary warrior mansion. Obviously, he had a fortuitous encounter. He should have entered the half-saint realm long ago. The Crimson Dragon said in a low voice. Lin Xian nodded his head after hearing that. That was indeed the case. Previously at the outstanding warrior mansion, he had even defeated the North Demon in a domineering manner. At that time, he and the Northern Demon were both martial artists who were close to Dao. Unexpectedly, not only had he become a half-saint in such a short time, but the Northern Demon had also become a half-saint. It seemed that these geniuses all had their own fortuitous encounters. However, Lin Xian was confident that he wouldn't lose to anyone. No matter if it was the Northern Demon or Yin Nantian. Yin Nantian hadn't come out yet? At this moment, another voice came from the sky. Everyone turned their heads to look. The surrounding half-saints trembled. What a terrifying aura. Jibai, Wang Hao, and the others narrowed their eyes. Lu Mu, it's you. You're here too. These people's voices were trembling. What? Lu Mu. Hearing this, the surrounding half-saints' faces changed. They all turned their heads to look at the huge stone tablet in front of them. In the next moment, they saw a purple name. The person ranked 9th was Lu Mu. Oh my god, a top genius with a purple name is here too? No way, is Lu Mu going to be ranked again? Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Lu Mu's eyes flickered. I don't plan to enter again. This time, I'm here to take a test with me. Junior sister, come out. As soon as he finished speaking, a woman walked out from behind Lu Mu. She was very beautiful. Her aura was also terrifying. She had also reached the half-saint realm. Obviously, she was also a young genius and Lu Mu's junior sister. Yu, when Yin Nantian comes out later, you can go and take the test. Lu Mu said in a deep voice. Yes, senior brother. Yu, who was beside him, responded with a smile. Her beautiful eyes flickered as she looked around curiously. However, it was merely a fight. She did not discover anyone capable of surpassing the senior brother beside her. Therefore, she snorted softly and looked away. Not long after, there was a rumbling sound from the abyss below. A figure, like a celestial emperor, rushed up quickly. At the same time, the names on the stone tablet changed. Another purple name appeared on the screen. Not only that, the top 3 names didn't change. Zhao Wuliang, who was ranked 4th, dropped 1 place. The new 4th place was Yin Nantian. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. The surrounding half-saints were shocked. Wang Chun, Ji Bai, and the others sucked in a breath of cold air. The pupils of Yu Hong and his brothers shrank. Another purple name appeared. Moreover, someone had made it into the top 5 and was ranked 4th. This Yin Nantian was too terrifying. Yes, he was indeed the successor of the great emperor. He was still very young and had unlimited potential. In a few years, his ranking might go even further. Yu Yu exclaimed and covered her cherry mouth with her hand. Her beautiful eyes were filled with disbelief. He was ranked 4th. He had surpassed senior brother. The other half-saints were also silent. It was indeed so. Lu Mu was very terrifying, but he was only ranked 9th in the purple name. Now, Yin Nantian was ranked 4th in the purple name. However, Lu Mu was extremely calm and didn't seem to be surprised. He said coldly, "This is my ranking from nearly 60 years ago. In these 60 years, I've been improving every day. Do you think that with my current strength, I'm only ranked 9th? Chapter 32:13. What? That was the ranking 60 years ago. The others were even more shocked. Atop Heaven's pride like Lu Mu was really improving every day. The change in 1 year was already very big, let alone 60 years. No wonder he was so calm. His strength had already reached an unfathomable level. Oh, really? Then why don't you re-enter the abyss and re-rank? Don't you dare? Yin Nantian flew into the sky and sneered when he heard Lu Mu's voice. In his opinion, Lu Mu was just jealous of him. You are Yin Nantian? Lu Mu turned and stared at Yin Nantian. His eyes shone with a cold light. Yin Nantian was surrounded by the 4 divine beasts, shining brightly. The next moment, an earth-shattering energy burst out. Invisible cracks spread in all directions. For a moment, the surrounding half-saints felt their scalps go numb. It was too terrifying. Just the collision of their gazes could shatter the world. If the 2 of them fought, they would all be in trouble. Are you the successor of the great emperor? Although you are talented and lucky, you are too young. Lu Mu put his hands behind his back and said proudly, I have my reasons for not re-ranking. I am afraid of being targeted. Do you think I am afraid of you? The moment Xiao Chan said that, the many half-sages were confused. Afraid of being targeted by others? Who was it? Is there anyone that Lu Mu is afraid of? They were puzzled. Lin Xian also frowned. It seems that the higher the ranking, the better. Yin Nantian snorted. It is useless to say more. In my opinion, you are just quibbling. Do you dare to fight with me? The 4 divine beasts around him became more and more terrifying. He was like a banished immortal who had descended to the mortal world. His powerful aura made the half-saints around him retreat continuously. Fight with you? Well, let me see what you are capable of. The successor of the great emperor. Lu Mu laughed loudly as he soared into the air and flew into the distance. Yin Nantian paused. The 4 divine beasts carried him and flew out as well. The surrounding half-saints were all stunned. Heaven? Are the 2 top geniuses going to fight? It is really shocking. Let's go and see. Many half-saints were excited. Such a top-notch battle was not something that could be seen normally. However, in the next moment, these half-saints flew back. An extremely terrifying energy came from the front and sent these people flying. They knew that it was impossible to forcibly watch the battle between the 2 of them. Unless there was a sage or a genius expert of similar strength, only then would they be able to watch the battle. This made them feel extremely regretful. Even Wang Chun, Ji Bai, and the others turned pale. That surge of power made their hearts tremble. However, there were a few people among them who soared into the sky. They used powerful semi-sage tools, formations, and magical treasures to force their way through. There was still a portion of people who stayed behind to prepare for the upcoming test. Lin Xian's gaze was like a rainbow as he looked into the distance. However, he soon withdrew his gaze. He did not go to watch the battle. This was because he was also extremely curious about the abyss below. Now that he had an invitation to the abyss in his hand, he naturally wanted to go in and experience it. Since they couldn't watch the battle between Yin Nantian and Lu Mu, they could only give up. He began to deal with it with all his might, and the following tests would be carried out. After the people who had fallen into the abyss walked out, all eyes were on Yu Yu. This was because Lu Mu had said that he would let Yu Yu take the test after the people inside came out. Although there were others who wanted to go in, they did not dare to do so when Yu Yu did not move. Fairy Yu Yu, it's your turn, Wang Qin, Ji Bai, and the others said. Yu Yu's beautiful eyes flashed as she looked into the distance. There's no hurry. I want to wait a little longer. Wang Chun and the others' hearts skipped a beat. They found that Yu Yu was looking into the distance where Yin Nantian and Ji Bai were fighting. It seemed that she was worried about her senior brother. After all, his opponent was the successor of a great emperor. In that case, I won't hold back. The eldest of the three Yu Hung brothers laughed and wanted to enter the abyss below. At the same time, Wang Chun and Ji Bai's eyes were sharp. The three of them moved, wanting to seize the opportunity. However, in the next moment, they were stunned. This was because they found that there was a figure who was even faster than them. He had already entered the abyss below. Damn it! What's going on? How can this person be so fast? Wang Chen frowned. Next to him, a half-saint exclaimed. No, that kid seemed to have moved early in the morning before Fairy Yu spoke. What? This kid dares to fight with Fairy Yu for a spot? He doesn't know what's good for him. Indeed, fighting with Fairy Yu for a spot is going against Lu Mu. Does this kid really want to die? The eldest of the three Yu Hung brothers immediately roared, Fairy Yu, I'll take this person down for you. He was the one who wanted to kill the other party, but he said that he was standing up for Fairy Yu. This was obviously to curry favor with Lu Mu. Buzz. The eldest of the three Yu Hung brothers attacked. Endless law fragments appeared on his body, turning into a long saber that slashed downward. This saber was like the Milky Way descending with a strong killing intent. It wanted to split the figure below in half. Oh no, the departing river saber, many people exclaimed. This was the ultimate move of the three Yu Hung brothers. Their first move was a killing move. It was obvious that they wanted to kill the person below. However, was the person below so easy to kill? The three Yu Hung brothers did not know who he was, but the half-saints around them knew who he was. Previously, he had dared to challenge the White Crane clan and killed three of their top prodigies in public. Such a ruthless person was definitely not to be trifled with. Indeed, below, Lin Xian frowned, and a cold light burst out from his eyes. Since he had already received the invitation, he naturally had to go down and test himself. As for Lu Mu's words, he did not take them to heart. Who was Lu Mu? Who would dare to stop him on the path he wanted to take? However, there was someone who did not know what was good for him and dared to stop him. Lin Xian turned his head and waved his hand. Endless law fragments danced in front of him, forming a large spatial rift that directly swallowed the terrifying saber light. You dare to stop me? Lin Xian said coldly. Swallowed. The eldest of the three Yu Hung brothers frowned. He did not expect the other party to be able to resolve his move so easily. After all, he was a half-saint. Moreover, he was ranked 24th among the orange names. His strength was extremely powerful. Not many people present were capable of contending against him. However, the other party had done it so easily. Who is this person? Kid, who are you? Didn't you hear what I said? This spot is for Fairy Yu. Who do you think you are? How dare you snatch it? Although he could not guess the other party's strength, so what? He did not believe that the other party dared to fight against Lu Mu. Buzz. Lin Xian did not answer at all. His reaction was to attack. A piercingly cold sword light soared into the sky like a fire dragon, ferociously roaring in all directions. Instantly, it charged towards the eldest of the three Yu Hung brothers. Chapter 32:14. You're courting death. The eldest of the three Yuhang brothers was enraged. He did not expect that the other party would not answer him at all and directly attack him. Kid, you're too arrogant. Do you think that you can contend against me just because you managed to block one of my attacks? You overestimate yourself. Today, I'll let you see my power. With a furious roar, light flickered on his body, and a large saber appeared in his hand, releasing a terrifying light. The terrifying killing intent on his body was like a storm that swept out in all directions. I don't care who you are. How dare you provoke me? I'll destroy you with one strike. The eldest of the three Yuhang brothers waved the long saber in his hand, and wind and thunder immediately erupted. Like a lightning tribulation, the surroundings were accompanied by terrifying phantoms of laws. The law of lightning. It was violent and could destroy everything. With a slash of the saber, terrifying thunder exploded in the void like a heavenly tribulation, incomparably mighty. The hearts of the surrounding half-saints pounded wildly. They knew that the eldest of the three Yuhang brothers was furious. The eldest of the three Yuhang brothers did not hold back with this strike. He wanted to kill Lin Xian in a domineering manner to raise his reputation. Wang Chen, Ji Bai, and the experts of the White Crane race also had grave expressions when they saw this scene. One had to admit that this saber was really too fierce, making them feel as if they were facing a great enemy. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and his face was gloomy. Facing this saber, he did not dodge at all. Instead, a terrifying sword intent rose from his body. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Buzz. Countless flames jumped on his body, forming a sea of fire. The saber slashed into the sea of fire and was burned fiercely. Its speed slowed down as if it was about to melt. Lin Xian stood in the air, looking like a god of fire. He watched the scene with cold eyes. Is this your attack? You can't even withstand a single blow. Have a taste of my sword technique. He condensed a law sword in his hand and slashed out. The eldest of the three Yuhang brothers originally had a disdainful expression, but when he sensed the sharpness of this sword, his expression changed. Damn it! How can it be so powerful? Scram! He roared like a madman and did not hold back. The law of lightning fragments wildly danced, forming a lightning saber that was tens of thousands of miles long that descended from the sky. The surrounding void split open, accompanied by hundreds of thousands of thunderbolts that descended together. Boom! Unparalleled light exploded in the void. However, he still underestimated Lin Xian's sword of law. This sword directly pierced through the lightning that filled the sky and shattered the terrifying saber light. Moreover, he slashed the eldest of the three brothers into two with a single sword strike. Puff! The eldest of the three Yuhang brothers screamed like he had gone mad. His eyes were filled with deep terror. His broken body wanted to reassemble itself. However, a terrifying dragon roar sounded from within the sword aura. The sword's soul erupted, forming a terrifying sword ripple that once again slashed the broken body into pieces. Even his soul was seriously injured. I was wrong. Stay your hand. Boss Yuhang screamed like he had gone mad. His eyes were filled with terror. It was too terrifying. He wasn't a match for his opponent at all. His opponent was actually a peak half-saint. Hold back? Lin Xian sneered. Do you think I'll hold back just because you say so? Just now, when you killed me with one saber strike, did you think of holding back? Lin Xian was unmoved. The fragments of the law of fire gathered a monstrous fire. This fire was too terrifying. It was as if it wanted to burn the other party to ashes. Amidst the raging fire, Boss Yuhang was incomparably miserable. He hurriedly knelt in the flames. Young master, please spare me. I was wrong for attacking you rashly. I'm here to apologize to you. At the same time, I'll offer you a Dharma treasure. This is the lightning strike wood. It's formed in the lightning tribulation and is abnormally precious. It has the aura of the great Tao on it. I'll give it to you now in exchange for my life. Big brother. The second and third brothers of the Yuhang family were also enraged. They rushed over like they had gone mad. Big brother, let's join forces. I don't believe we can't kill him. The two of them roared like they had gone mad. But Boss Yuhang quickly transmitted his voice. Stop, don't be rash. The three of us can indeed kill him if we join forces. But when the two of you attack, I'll probably be killed by him. So, wait for me to come out first, then deal with this brat." Hearing Boss's transmission, second and third brothers stopped in their tracks. Their eyes bloomed with monstrous fury as they stared fixedly at Lin Xian. Lin Xian's brows twitched. The lightning strike wood. With a wave of his hand, he grabbed the section of lightning strike wood. Then, he looked at Boss, who was kneeling in midair, and said coldly, "This time, I'll spare your life. The next time you dare to be disrespectful to me, I'll directly destroy your body and soul. Ruzalong, this thing should be useful to you." Lin Xian turned around and handed the lightning strike wood to the Crimson Dragon. After the Crimson Dragon received it, he grinned. "Haha, it indeed contains the power of lightning. Great brat, I'll accept this thing without hesitation." The Crimson Dragon cultivated the law of lightning. This lightning strike wood was very useful to him. Lin Xian's figure changed, and he quickly descended towards the abyss below. Soon, he disappeared from everyone's sight. "Boss, are you all right?" Second and third brothers of Alioth rushed over. Boss of Alioth's face was extremely pale. He quickly recovered his body and swallowed a pill. On the other side, after Lin Xian fell into the abyss, he was enveloped by a grayish-white aura. At the same time, the grayish-white aura in front of him formed a jade pendant that was stuck between his eyebrows. This stunned Lin Xian, but he did not resist. This was because he felt that the jade pendant was not a threat to him. Instead, it seemed to be protecting him. Soon, Lin Xian stopped descending. He looked around him. The surroundings were gray. There was a grayish-white staircase in front of him that led to a mysterious door. However, he did not know what was inside. Since he was here, Lin Xian did not think too much and strode in. There was a large hall inside. It was very large and spacious. The surroundings were simple and unadorned, with a mysterious aura. Buzz. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the palace. It was a figure in a gray robe. The Taoist robe reached the ground, and he was wearing a cloak. It was impossible to see what he looked like. He could only see a pair of eyes that seemed to be flickering with a cold light, like will-o'-the-wisps. Lin Xian did not feel any mysterious aura from the other party. This made him suspect that the other party was not human, or a puppet. "Trial taker, welcome to the falling abyss." A hoarse and low voice sounded, echoing in the hall. Now, the first stage began. As the voice fell, the void in front of him tumbled. Countless grayish-white aura, carrying a mysterious power, condensed into a figure. Su Chan was stunned. He felt the power of laws from the mysterious power. It seemed that the falling abyss was not simple. He wondered what his opponent was. Soon, he saw it. It was a black monster with a human body and a leopard's head. It had a total of 4 arms and a huge head that was extremely ferocious. There was a terrifying aura on its body, and there were terrifying fragments of laws surrounding it. Lin Xian could clearly sense that it was the fire precept. The first stage was a half-saint with a fragment of laws. Lin Xian was extremely surprised. It was no wonder that the ordinary half-saints outside could not pass through a few stages. Chapter 32:15. If the first stage was already so terrifying, how powerful would the next few stages be? However, Bian Xian didn't care. The law of fire? He was also good at it. The law fragments danced and condensed into a law sword, which was held in Lin Xian's hand. On the other side, the black leopard also took the form of a large black bow. Countless fragments of the law of fire danced at his fingertips, forming a black flame that danced and turned into an arrow. Then, the leopard knocked the black arrow on the bow, and the aura on his body erupted. With a buzz, the arrow flew out. Lin Xian roared. His divine body bloomed, and the great dragon sword soul in his body roared. He took a step forward, turned into a fiend godlike shadow, and rushed over. The law sword flickered in the air, cutting the void. After a strike, a sonorous sound rang out. The two types of flame fragments in the void kept colliding, erupting into a phenomenon of heaven and earth. As for Lin Xian, he sheathed his sword. Puff! The black leopard was split in half, and its body couldn't be reassembled at all. His voice turned into black flames, burning fiercely. Then, it formed a black door. Congratulations, you've passed the first stage. Next, it was the second stage of the assessment. The gray-robed man next to him said coldly. Lin Xian walked into the black door and then disappeared. The next moment, he appeared again. He was still surrounded by an empty hall, ancient and mysterious, very similar to the first level. There was even someone next to him. Lin Xian suspected that he didn't leave at all. But at this time, his opponent changed. It was no longer a gray leopard, but an even more terrifying existence. The opponent's aura was much more terrifying than the black leopard on the first level. Kill. Lin Xian didn't hesitate and resolutely used all his strength to kill. In this trial, Lin Xian used his strongest state to deal with it. He was curious to see how far he could go. The second stage, the third stage, and the fourth stage. Lin Xian was extremely powerful. Within 3 moves, he could easily kill his opponent. Of course, Lin Xian didn't hold back at all. The great dragon sword soul, 2 law fragments, and a powerful physique made his strength incomparably powerful. Just like that, Lin Xian made his way through with great momentum. Outside, Boss Yu Hong opened his eyes. He was barely able to stop his injuries. However, his expression was incomparably ugly. After such a battle, it would be very difficult for him to reach his peak in a short period of time. If that was the case, the results of his test in the abyss wouldn't be obvious at all. Perhaps, his ranking might even drop. This was unbearable for him. Damn it! Damn it! Eldest brother Yu Hong was so angry that he vomited blood. Beside him, second brother and third brother said, "Big brother, that brat is too hateful. When he comes out, we must join hands and kill him." Yes, that's right. He was too arrogant. He actually dared to injure Big Brother. No matter how powerful he is not a match for us 3 brothers. Yu Hong and his brothers gnashed their teeth. The surrounding experts felt their scalps go numb. This was because Lin Xian was simply too domineering. He defeated Boss Yu Hong so easily. They were all guessing what level this brat could reach. They didn't know that Boss Yu Hong was ranked 24th in the orange rank. That brat could defeat him so easily. They estimated that he could at least rush to the top 10 in the orange rank. Yes, it wouldn't even be a problem for him to rush to the top 5 in the orange rank. However, as for whether he could reach the purple rank, they didn't know. It was hard to say. Those who reached the purple rank were all earth-shattering peerless experts without exception. They were either the successors of great emperors, possessed mysterious and powerful bloodlines, or had terrifying magic treasures. Didn't they see that the successor of a great emperor only got 4th that day? No matter how powerful that brat was, it would probably be very difficult for him to reach the purple rank. That was indeed the case. This was what everyone thought. The people of the White Crane clan had gloomy expressions. That was because the other party's limelight was too strong. They had to think of a way to suppress him. "Boss, should we ask for the Thunderstrike would back first?" Third brother asked in a deep voice. Hearing this, Boss Yu Heng's eyes shone with a cold light. He stared at the crimson dragon in the distance. If he wasn't wrong, Lin Xian had given the Thunderstrike wood to that dragon. "All right, I'll snatch it back first." Boss Yu Hong gritted his teeth. How could he give something as precious as the Thunderstrike would to the other party? If it wasn't to save his life, he wouldn't have taken it out even if he was beaten to death. That was the key treasure for him to comprehend the laws. Buzz. He stood up. Second brother and third brother beside him also stood up. The 3 of them had powerful auras. They were like gods and demons as they quickly walked towards the Crimson Dragon. "Oh my, what? You're not convinced? You want to fight your grandpa dragon?" The Crimson Dragon sneered when he saw this. How could he not know what the 3 of them were thinking? "Damn it, hand over the Thunderstrike wood. Otherwise, don't blame me for turning you into meat skewers. Haha, how dare you threaten Ben Huang?" The Crimson Dragon also used the terrifying law of lightning. The surrounding half-saints all turned their heads. The heavens wanted to watch another battle. From the looks of it, the 3 Yu Hong brothers had joined forces this time. Could this dragon stop them? "Damn it, you want to bully me with numbers?" The Crimson Dragon's eyes turned. He could see that the abyss below was not ordinary. To achieve good results, he had to be in peak condition. If he fought with the other party now, he would probably be at a disadvantage when he entered the trial later. Therefore, the Crimson Dragon did not plan to make a move. He roared, and the dragon's roar pierced through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. This is the nest of 10,000 dragons. You dare to touch me? The dragon race will not let you off. The Crimson Dragon was indeed part of the dragon race. As for the nest of 10,000 dragons, he made it up casually. The purpose was to intimidate the other party. As expected, the 3 Yuheng brothers stopped when they heard this. The surrounding half-saints also exclaimed, "Nest of 10,000 dragons? Could it be that?" The nest of 10,000 dragons was the dragon race's holy land. It was said that there had been an arch there. Did this dragon really come from the nest of 10,000 dragons? No wonder. No wonder he was so powerful and could still walk with that kid. Thinking about it, that kid should also be related to the nest of 10,000 dragons. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. The 3 Yuheng brothers' expressions were even more uncertain. They had naturally heard of the nest of 10,000 dragons. It was a very huge force in the myriad worlds. If the other party really came from the nest of 10,000 dragons, they really did not dare to make a move. Thinking of this, the second and third brothers asked, "Boss, what should we do?" Yu Heng's face was gloomy. In the end, he gritted his teeth and said, "Let's spare it this time. We'll wait for that kid to come out and attack him. The 3 of us will kill that kid." They did not dare to make a move against this dragon, but they did not have any scruples about Lin Xian. It was actually scared away. The Crimson Dragon was also surprised. He said the nest of 10,000 dragons casually. After all, the nest of 10,000 dragons was only in the true spirit world. He wondered if the people in the myriad worlds had heard of it, but now it seemed that the other party had heard of it. Moreover, the nest of 10,000 dragons should be a very terrifying existence in the eyes of these people. Could it be that in addition to the true spirit world, there was also a nest of 10,000 dragons in the myriad worlds, and it was an extremely terrifying existence? Chapter 32:16. The Crimson Dragon couldn't figure it out for the time being, but it made sense. The Dragon clan had a heaven-defying bloodline and a terrifying inheritance. No matter where they were the absolute powerhouses. There was no doubt about that. That was why the other party was so terrifying. Without the threat next to him, the Crimson Dragon was completely relieved. He looked down at the falling abyss, wondering how far Lin Fan could go. Falling abyss, 5th level. His opponent this time was a dragon, a flying pterosaur. It spread its wings, carrying a terrifying power. This pterosaur had mastered the law of wind. As it flapped its wings, illusions appeared all over the sky. Moreover, its speed was extremely fast. It could almost reach Lin Xian's side in an instant and attack Lin Xian more than 100,000 times. What a fast speed! Lin Xian relied on the 9 suns body to resist these attacks. The void trembled and thunder rumbled. The blood in his body boiled, then turned into a dragon shadow and rushed into the sky. What a terrifying speed! This speed was even faster than the half-saint Blackbat from before. However, Lin Xian wasn't afraid. His body was extremely strong, so he wasn't afraid of this speed at all. He could take it head-on. At the same time, 2 types of law power surged out and slashed forward. The law of fire was monstrous, enveloping the entire space. On the other side, the law of annihilation turned all the attacks into ashes. Under the pincer attack of the 2 forces, Lin Xian killed the pterosaur. Buzz! Lin Xian took a deep breath, and the law fragments all over the sky returned to his body. At this time, the gray-robed man next to him gently raised his hand and clapped. "Congratulations, you've passed the first stage." Accompanied by his applause, a gray door appeared in front of him again. Lin Xian walked in without hesitation. The next moment, he was teleported again. This time, he came to the main hall. There was a change. In front of him was a statue, a flame statue. This flame statue was very tall, at least 100 feet tall, and terrifying flames were dancing. She was like a fire god. Lin Xian raised his head and looked at the fire god statue in front of him. He was extremely shocked. He realized that there were 8 fire dragons coiling around the fire god's body. They were terrifying as if they were real dragons. What is this? He sensed a strange power from the fire god statue. This power caused his law of fire fragment to jump up and down. The law of fire, the true law of fire. Lin Xian was extremely shocked. Could it be that this was the reward? He could comprehend the laws of fire. He was too shocked. Soon, he activated his heavenly fate god eyes. The plenilune seed in his left eye was twitching non-stop. At the same time, he quickly recalled the Great Tao Insight Sutra. Soon, Lin Xian fell into a state of comprehension. This time, Lin Xian did not know how much time had passed. It was as if hundreds of years had passed. This made him extremely shocked. How could such a long time have passed? Previously, when Yin Nantian took the test, it didn't take long for him to come out. Yin Nantian had obtained a purple name, so the reward would definitely be substantial. But why did he come out so quickly? And he had been comprehending for such a long time? Could it be that the flow of time inside and outside was different? Thinking up to here, Lin Xian was extremely shocked. Since that was the case, then he had no more worries. However, the comprehension this time was already over. It seemed that falling into the abyss only gave him one chance to comprehend. However, this time was already enough. He had the plenilune seed and Great Tao Insight, so comprehending was twice the result with half the effort. This time, it made his law of fire fragment become powerful again. This made him extremely shocked, and at the same time wild with joy. Lin Xian could feel that his strength had improved compared to before. Great! He was too excited. Turning around and entering the mysterious door behind him, Lin Xian left the Fire God Great Hall. The next moment, he appeared again. This time, it was the 6th level. Originally, each level was much more difficult than the previous one. The 6th level was naturally more difficult than the 5th level. However, Lin Xian's speed of breaking through was faster than the previous 5 levels, because his strength had improved. Once the law of fire appeared, the opponent could not withstand it at all. Therefore, Lin Xian's speed of breaking through to the 10th level was even faster than the previous 5 levels. After breaking through the 4th level, Lin Xian received the 2nd reward again. It was also a great hall, but this time, it was not a fire god statue, but a tree. An incomparably mysterious ancient tree was rooted there. Powerful life force, like an undying tree. Could it be the law of wood? Lin Xian was extremely shocked. This was great. Lin Xian had always wanted to comprehend the law of wood, because after comprehending the law of wood, one could possess powerful life force and terrifying recovery ability. Like the northern demon previously, it was the law of wood. It was easy for him to defeat the northern demon, but it would probably not be easy for him to completely kill the other party. After all, the law of wood, that life force, was seriously too powerful. This time, he must condense and form a law of wood fragment. Lin Xian's eyes erupted with a piercing cold light. He pushed the plenilune seed to the limit. This time, Lin Xian once again immersed himself in cultivation. To be honest, Lin Xian comprehended the great Tao of heaven and earth much faster than other half-sages and geniuses, because he had 2 magic treasures. The Great Tao Insight Scripture was the experience of a saint to comprehend the great Tao of heaven and earth. The second was the plenilune seed. This was an even more precious treasure. One had to know that the plenilune seed was condensed from the plenilune wordless steel. The plenilune wordless steel was a divine steel of the prodigy manner. It had an extremely powerful auxiliary effect in comprehending the great Tao of heaven and earth. Therefore, Lin Xian used the heavenly secret divine eye together. The effect was really surprisingly good. Finally, Lin Xian comprehended the law of wood fragment this time. He felt that the longevity art in his body seemed to have been sublimated once. When it was activated, it brought him powerful life force. So powerful, Lin Xian was extremely shocked. He felt that he seemed to have endless life force now. Great. I wonder what law will be next? Lin Xian was too excited. Soon, Lin Xian killed his way to the 15th level and killed the powerful enemies on the 15th level. This time, it was the law of water. Should he comprehend it? This was Lin Xian's question. Lin Xian also knew that the cultivation of saints was roughly divided into 2 types. One was to comprehend the law of heaven and earth as much as possible. Such saints comprehended many laws, and their strength was also very powerful. However, there was another type of saint, and that was to only cultivate one law in their life. Although this sort of sage had only comprehended a few nomological laws, this one was extremely powerful and had reached an unfathomable level. Therefore, this kind of saint could be said to be very terrifying. Some could even cultivate a move to break all laws. Now, there were two paths in front of Lin Xian for Lin Xian to choose from. Chapter 32:17. Lin Xian pondered for a moment and prepared to comprehend the law of water without hesitation, because according to his speculation, this should be a law of the 5 elements. After comprehending it, he should be able to condense the law of the 5 elements. This way, he could condense the law of the 5 elements. Moreover, as long as he had any law of the 5 elements, he could break through and reach the true law of the 5 elements. In that way, his strength would increase exponentially. Moreover, Lin Xian had the plenilune seed and the Grand Tao Insight scripture. If he gave up now, it would be a pity. Therefore, Lin Xian once again tried to comprehend the law of water. After an unknown number of years, Lin Xian condensed the law of water fragment. After the law of water fragment was formed, Lin Xian had already grasped 4 law of the 5 elements. While his attack power was firm and fierce, there was also a kind of softness. It could be said that the combination of hardness and softness increased his attack power once again. There was also the law of earth and the law of metal to be comprehended together. Lin Xian clenched his fists. A trace of determination emerged in his eyes. He must comprehend the law of the 5 elements. Next, Lin Xian continued. Those people outside. While waiting, they discussed animatedly. This kid had gone in for so long, but he still hadn't come out. He wouldn't have entered the 20th floor, right? Someone guessed. It can't be, right? He could actually enter the 20th floor? That's impossible. Could it be that he also had the qualifications to enter the purple name list? When this news came out, everyone was in an uproar. There were a total of 11 purple names on the stone tablet, and every one of them was an earth-shattering peerless genius. Their strength was extremely terrifying. Now, there was going to be a new one? Wang Chun, Ji Bai, and the rest had solemn expressions. Yu Hong and his brothers were extremely nervous. If the other party really entered the purple name list, then what revenge could they take? They had to run away quickly. However, the 3 of them did not leave. Because they were betting. They did not believe that Lin Xian could enter the purple name list. Maybe the time he took to pass the test was longer. They could only comfort themselves like this, falling into the abyss. Lin Xian still passed the 20th floor. This time, he used an unknown amount of time to comprehend the law of the 5 elements. The law of earth fragment. The falling abyss was too mysterious. It definitely contained the laws of time. Moreover, I couldn't feel any changes in my body. After Lin Xian came out of the Earth God Hall, he was extremely amazed. Perhaps only the law of time could accomplish such a feat. Moreover, it had to be an extremely profound law of time. It seemed that there was an extremely powerful existence behind this abyss. Who was the one who built this place? After the 20th stage, the difficulty increased exponentially, far surpassing the previous stages. From now on, he should be able to get a purple name. No wonder there were so few purple names. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he looked at his opponent for stage 21. In the 21st stage, his opponent was very strange. It was a saber, a long golden saber. The long saber carried a biting cold killing intent. Like a divine saber, it caused the entire void to tremble. As soon as he appeared, huge cracks appeared all over the sky. The terrifying saber light directly enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian unleashed a fragment of the laws of earth to create an extremely powerful defense around him. At the same time, the sword of law flew out. Boom! The two collided in the air, producing a clanging sound. It was not damaged. Lin Xian was surprised. He found that the golden saber was sent flying, but it did not crack. This was too shocking for him. One had to know that his current strength was extremely powerful. Even an ordinary half-saint would be sliced in half by his attack. But now, The long saber was actually fine. I can feel a trace of the law of metal. No wonder it's so hard. The law of metal mainly attacked and was incomparably hard. Presumably, the long saber was formed from the law of metal fragments. That's great. Let me experience just how powerful the law of metal is. Lin Xian's eyes burst out with a piercing cold light. He brandished the sword of law and quickly rushed up. The 21st stage, 22nd stage, 23rd stage. Finally, Lin Xian arrived at the 25th stage. The 25th stage was a man in a golden robe. His entire body seemed to be made of pure gold. He had a golden long sword in his hand. On the long sword, countless law runes gathered. Swaying gently, the sword chi was like golden lightning, piercing through the void. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He felt a great sense of danger. The 25th stage was so powerful. He was surprised. Buzz. A sword chi, like a shocking divine thunder, slashed towards him, splitting the void. Even the law of earth fragments in front of Lin Xian were split apart. This surprised Lin Xian. This sword was really too powerful. Kill. Lin Xian condensed the sword of law and rushed over. The battle between the two was very intense. The entire space was completely shattered, filled with terrifying laws. Fortunately, this was the falling abyss, which was incomparably mysterious. Otherwise, if it was outside, it would probably be shattered for tens of millions of miles. Buzz. Lin Xian blocked the opponent's attack with a sword. He stretched out his palm. On the tip of his finger, there was a terrifying law of water, rotating and flowing. It looked like a monstrous wave, covering the sky and the earth as it surged forward. Those golden sword lights slashed into the waves, but they did not break. Instead, they sank deeper and deeper. The monstrous sea was traceless and incomparably soft. The sea water directly swallowed all the sword chi. Buzz. However, at this moment, a piercing light burst out from the eyes of the brocade-robed man. Those golden sword lights suddenly shone brightly. The sword lights that were originally engulfed by the seawater also erupted, rushing out of the water like golden dragons. The seawater that filled the sky was split apart, and a few sword chi collided with Lin Xian's body. Clang! These sword chi collided with Lin Xian's body, producing an earth-shattering sound. The blood in Lin Xian's body churned, and a few cracks appeared on his body. He roared, and the nine-yang divine body showed its power. At the same time, the law of wood fragment provided a powerful vitality. The cracks on his body instantly healed. Annihilation. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the law of annihilation fragment surged up, cooperating with the law of water fragment. The two began to destroy the golden light in the sky. The golden-robed man opposite him began to counterattack. As if there was endless power in his body, those golden swords transformed into golden dragons that roared. This caused Lin Xian's body to sway again. Lin Xian let out a long roar, and the great dragon's sword spirit roared. He knew that this was a powerful enemy. He did not dare to hold back. All kinds of law attacks, combined with great divine abilities, surged forward, wanting to suppress the other party. Buzz. Finally, Lin Xian broke through the golden sword chi that filled the sky and arrived in front of the other party. He slashed out with his sword, stabbing towards the other party's body. With a clang, another thunderous sound was heard. His law of sword did not stab in. This caused him to be extremely shocked. This body was so strong. The other party's body was comparable to his current divine body. Metal physique. Lin Xian was extremely shocked. This body was completely condensed from the law of metal fragment. This was a body of laws. Lin Xian was extremely surprised. What a terrifying physique. If I can comprehend the law of metal, I can definitely raise my nine-yang divine body to another level. He was extremely excited. He had to comprehend the law of metal. However, to comprehend the law of metal, he had to first kill the golden-robed man in front of him. Buzz. At this moment, the golden sword in the golden-robed man's hand bloomed with incomparable light, slashing towards Lin Xian. This sword was earth-shattering. Chapter 32:18. Lin Xian snorted coldly and did not dodge. He executed all of his divine abilities to contend with him. The two people shook heaven and earth, fighting for 300 moves. In the end, Lin Xian killed the golden-robed man with a sword, and a terrifying large crack also appeared on his body. However, this was not a problem for Lin Xian at all. The art of longevity and the law of wood fragment allowed his body to recover rapidly. Great. He finally passed the 25th stage. Lin Xian was overjoyed. The golden-robed man was really too powerful. If it weren't for his strong physique and the great dragon sword spirit, it would have been very difficult for him to hit the other party. Next, it was to comprehend the law of metal. Sure enough, a golden door appeared in front of him. Lin Xian walked in and began to comprehend the law of metal. In the outside world, everyone was already impatient from waiting. This time was too long. It was even longer than Yin Nantian. However, could he surpass Yin Nantian? What a joke. They felt that the kid had already died inside. Perhaps he had really perished in there. The people of the White Crane clan sneered. The Yuhang brothers also heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that the other party was not much of a threat. Perhaps he could not come out at all. The Crimson Dragon frowned slightly. After all, the falling abyss below was very mysterious. He could not see through it. However, he guessed that Lin Xian should not have any problems. Just as everyone was discussing amongst themselves, someone finally exclaimed in shock, "Look, the stone tablet in front of them is undergoing a transformation." What? Everyone raised their heads and looked forward. Could it be that the kid was coming out? That kid didn't die? I want to see what ranking that kid can obtain. The people of the White Crane clan snorted coldly. The Yuhang brothers also clenched their fists. They did not know if the other party could enter the top 10 of the orange names. If that was the case, they would probably be in danger. There was no orange name. Everyone's first attention was naturally the orange name region. However, they discovered that the other party was not there at all. Could it be that the other party did not enter the orange name region at all? Many people heaved a sigh of relief. However, Wang Chun, Ji Bai, and the others frowned. That shouldn't be the case. The other party could easily defeat the leader of Ancient Jade Sect. It meant that the other party was not weak. In fact, he might even be stronger than them. But why didn't he have an orange name? Could it be that his name had entered purple? As soon as this thought appeared in their minds, the faces of Wang Cheng and the others darkened. They quickly raised their heads and looked toward the top of the stone tablet. In the next moment, they were stunned, and their bodies began to tremble slightly. What's wrong? What kind of expression is that? The other half-saints in the area were perplexed by Zhang Xian's words, and they quickly turned their gazes over as well. They screamed, and a few half-saints fainted from fright. The other people were also trembling as if they had seen a ghost. The Crimson Dragon raised his head and looked at the stone tablet in front of him. He saw that there was one more purple name. Lin Xian's name appeared in the purple name area. Furthermore, it appeared in the first place. It was on par with the Imperial Mausoleum. First place? Oh heavens! That brat actually got first place. How is this possible? The people of the White Crane clan screamed as if they had gone mad. They couldn't believe it. The others were dumbfounded. The Yu Hongshan brothers knelt on the ground with a plop, their bodies trembling. They still wanted to take revenge on him? The other party was first place. That was someone who was on par with Di Ling. He had even surpassed Yin Nantian. Would they dare to take revenge on such a person? If the other party wanted to kill them, it would probably be effortless. Thinking of this, the three of them turned around and fled, not daring to stay here any longer. Wang Chun, Ji Bai, and the others were even more stunned. They originally thought that the other party was stronger than them, but not by much. But who would have thought that they were so wrong? The other party was a true dragon. He soared into the sky, far surpassing them. Yin Nantian probably wouldn't be able to suppress him. The people of the White Crane clan were even more stunned. Because they had a grudge with the other party, they naturally didn't want to see the other party soar into the sky. But now, the other party had actually become first place. He had trampled all the people of the White Crane clan under his feet. They couldn't believe it. Impossible. Damn it, I don't believe it. There must be something wrong with the stone tablet. How could this kid be first place in purple? Among the White Crane clan, a half-saint roared crazily. His strength was very strong. He was ranked third among the orange names, very close to purple. But now, the other party had surpassed him by far, which made him unable to believe it. The Crimson Dragon was extremely surprised. Oh my, this kid is really too heaven-defying. But there were still many half-saints who couldn't believe it. They felt that there must be something wrong with the stone tablet. Otherwise, how could the other party be first place? When that kid comes out, I must personally test his strength and see how strong he is. Some powerful half-saints gritted their teeth. They were all waiting for Lin Xian's return. But after waiting for a long time, they realized that Lin Xian still hadn't come out. What was going on? Under normal circumstances, the other party should come out very quickly when the ranking was announced. But now, it was beyond their expectations. This strengthened their confidence that there was something wrong with the stone tablet. In fact, they didn't know that there was nothing wrong with the stone tablet, because Lin Xian was now comprehending the laws of metal. When Lin Xian opened his eyes, a golden pattern appeared on his body with a sharp aura. In the next moment, the other 4 Tao patterns began to flicker, following his body, forming a 5-element light. The laws of the 5 elements. Lin Xian had comprehended all of them into law fragments, which made him wild with joy. If he could combine the 5 elements, the power of these law fragments would increase again. But he knew that combining the 5 elements wasn't easy, and he needed to practice well. Now, in addition to the laws of the 5 elements, Lin Xian also had the annihilation law. It could be said that he had comprehended 6 laws, more than Yin Nantian. He was full of confidence, but he didn't know what was next on the 26th level. Originally, he wanted to continue, but in the next moment, a grayish-white aura wrapped around him and sent him out of the falling abyss. This made Lin Xian sigh. It seemed that there should be some rules in the falling abyss that he hadn't figured out. However, the harvest this time was very huge. He comprehended an additional 4 laws. The falling abyss was definitely a treasure land. If there was a chance in the future, he would definitely come again. Thinking of this, Lin Xian accelerated his flight, flying out of the falling abyss. Those people outside were all waiting. Suddenly, their brows twitched. Someone came out. Sure enough, in the next moment, they saw a figure rushing up from below. It was that kid. They were on guard. The other party was now first in purple. Chapter 32:19. However, they did not sense any powerful aura from him. Humph, this kid's aura is not much stronger. He probably did not gain any benefits. There was indeed something wrong with the stone tablet. The White Crane race snorted coldly. The orange-ranked 3rd half-saint walked out. Kid, I want to see how powerful you are to be able to achieve such a result. This half-saint exuded a terrifying aura. It was a fragment of the law of wind. It was extremely sharp and caused the entire world to boil. Lin Xian first turned his head to look at the towering stone tablet. When he saw that his name was tied with Di Ling for first place, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. Indeed, he had guessed correctly. He had surpassed Yin Nantian. However, what surprised him was that Di Ling was actually tied with him. Could it be that he had reached the 25th floor? And he had successfully passed. That surprised him. It seemed that Di Ling was not simple. In the next moment, he retracted his gaze and looked at the half-saint of the White Crane race in front of him. He snorted coldly. Who do you think you are to be worthy of fighting with me? You're courting death. The half-saint of the White Crane race was enraged. The fragments of the law of wind on his body soared into the sky. He turned into a stream of light and instantly appeared in front of Lin Xian. At such a close distance, he could kill Lin Xian before he could react. With a wave of his hand, countless fragments of the law of wind gathered in front of him. Accompanied by a gust of wind, they formed a spear of the law of wind. The spear stabbed out directly towards Lin Xian's head. The void was instantly pierced through. The half-saints below all trembled. This spear was simply too terrifying. It could easily shatter them into pieces. This guy was too powerful. Yes, as expected of the orange ranked 3rd. It was already very close to the purple name, I want to see how this kid is going to fight against it. He can't block it. He is ranked first. There must be something wrong with the stone tablet. Just wait and see. He will be killed in an instant. Looking at such a sharp spear, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. It was indeed not bad, but it could not do anything to him. He could deal with it calmly before, let alone now that he had comprehended 4 new fragments of the law of wind. This kind of attack could not withstand a single blow from him. Wang, with a wave of his sleeve, endless blue law fragments danced, forming a monstrous sea that enveloped the spear. Not good. The expression of the half-step sage of the white crane race changed instantly. He felt as if his spear had sunk into a quagmire. That powerful force wanted to engulf him. Wang. At the same time, Lin Xian's other hand moved. He stretched out a finger and pointed forward. The fragments of the law of metal gathered to form a golden sword that slashed forward. With a bang, the half-saint of the White Crane clan was pierced through. A blood-curdling scream was heard as the blood of a half-saint was spilled. The body of the half-saint fell to the ground with a loud boom. The surrounding people were all stunned. No, the people of the White Crane clan screamed as if they had gone mad. To think that one of the top half-saints of their race would be severely injured by a single finger from the other party. This was simply too unbelievable. Was the other party already so terrifying? The other half-saints were so scared that they wet their pants. Number 1. The other party definitely had the strength to be number 1. At this moment, no one dared to doubt Lin Xian. Who still wants to fight with me? Lin Xian asked coldly as he stood with his hands behind his back. His gaze swept in all directions. Immediately, the surrounding half-saints all lowered their heads. No one dared to look him in the eye. Wang Cheng, Ji Bai, and the others also lowered their heads, their bodies trembling. Previously, when they came here, they were insufferably arrogant. They thought that other than Yin Nantian and Lu Mu, no one was their match. But now, another person had appeared, suppressing them so much that they could not raise their heads. The people of the White Crane clan also lowered their heads. Although they were furious, they did not dare to make a move. The other party was too strong. They were no match for him at all. Ruzalong, go in. There are many benefits inside. Lin Xian looked at the Crimson Dragon. That's good. The Crimson Dragon swayed its tail and rushed down to test it. After the Crimson Dragon left, Lin Xian looked into the distance. There was an earth-shattering scene. Terrifying laws were flying. Were those 2 guys not done fighting yet? He naturally knew that the people fighting in the distance were Yin Nantian and Lu Mu. Well, let's test it out on the 2 of them. Let's see how strong I am now. Lin Xian's heart was filled with pride. The half-saints around him were no match for him. In fact, he didn't even have the interest to fight them. However, Yin Nantian and Lu Mu were different. They were very powerful. Buzz. Lin Xian took a step forward. His body shone brightly. Like a god of war, he tore through the void and rushed into the distance. Heavens, what was he trying to do? That was the place where Yin Nantian and Lu Mu were fighting. Was he going to watch the battle? The surrounding half-saints exclaimed. Some of them had already begun to gather in front. Lin Xian did go to the place where the 2 were fighting. However, he did not want to watch the battle. He wanted to fight. In front of him, Yin Nantian looked solemn. He originally thought that he could easily suppress the other party since he was ranked 4th, and the other party was ranked 9th. He could even defeat the other party. But now it seemed that he was indeed a little careless. The other party was very strong. The other party was ranked 9th 60 years ago. Now, he was simply unfathomable. He could not defeat the other party in a short time. Of course, Yin Nantian only looked solemn. He was not afraid. As the successor of the great emperor, he had many trump cards. They were all life-saving, so he did not plan to use them now. Yin Nantian, are you such a successor of the great emperor? In my opinion, you are just Oso. You are not worthy of being the successor of the great emperor. Why don't you give me the great emperor's inheritance? I can make it shine. Lu Mu held a long green spear. He was like a god, exuding a powerful aura. Humph! Do you really think that I can't defeat you? Yin Nantian snorted coldly and formed a seal again. The The precept fragments rushed forward together with the theurgy. The two exchanged blows. It was earth-shattering. Countless precept fragments danced in the air, and the entire sky exploded. The surrounding half-saints did not dare to get closer. They could only watch from afar using secret techniques. However, at this moment, the half-saints in the distance were all stunned. Their eyeballs almost popped out. Heavens, what did he want to see? Participate in the battle? They saw a figure descend from the sky and land in the battlefield between Yin Nantian and Lu Mu. Lin Xian descended from the sky and laughed. You two, are you not done yet? If that's the case, I will practice with you. His powerful sword chi slashed in all directions, directly enveloping Yin Nantian and Lu Mu. Yin Nantian and Lu Mu were stunned. Then, they were completely enraged. You are courting death. Yin Nantian waved his hand. Suddenly, an ancient imperial rune appeared in the sky like a dazzling star. Terrifying precept fragments flickered on the imperial rune. Chapter 32:20. Lu Mu held the green spear in his hand and thrust it out. The terrifying spear light illuminated the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The two peerless geniuses attacked together to fight against Lin Xian. When the half-saints in the distance saw this scene, they almost fainted from fright. God, this Lin Wuti was too arrogant. He actually wanted to fight against 2 of them alone. If it was an ordinary half-saint, it would be fine if it was 1 against 2. But who was the opponent? It could be Yin Nantian and Lu Mu. Any one of them would be able to suppress an entire region and make them tremble in fear. Now, Lin Xian actually wanted to fight against 2 top experts at the same time. Was he not courting death? This kid was too arrogant. Yes, did he really think that he could fight against the 2 of them just because he got first place? Not to mention Yin Nantian, who was the successor of the great emperor. Just Lu Mu was already very terrifying. If Lu Mu participated in the Abyss trial again, he would definitely be able to get into the top 3, or even first place. In the distance, the half-saints were discussing. They felt that Lin Xian was too arrogant. Lin Xian, on the other hand, let out a hearty laugh. A dragon roar came from his body. He clenched his left hand into a fist. The law of fire accompanied his fist and turned into a fire dragon, shattering the void. It collided with the ancient emperor runes. An earth-shattering explosion filled the sky. The void shattered as if it was the end of the world. At the same time, his right hand formed a law sword and slashed out. The law of metal combined with the power of the dragon sword soul was unstoppable. Clang! This attack caused the half-saints who were watching the battle from afar to continuously retreat. Some of them even vomited blood and trembled. It was too terrifying. Just the aftermath of the energy was enough to make them shudder. The people of the White Crane clan were stunned. Could this kid really fight against 2 top geniuses at the same time? Who was he? Damn it! Yin Nantian roared. His gaze was like a divine lamp that pierced through the 9 heavens and 10 lands, staring at the figure above. It was him. What was going on? How was this possible? How could he become so strong? He could not believe it. On the other side, Lu Mu emitted a monstrous aura. He also stared at Lin Xian and asked coldly, "Who are you?" "Lin Wuti." Lin Xian's voice was filled with confidence. Lu Mu frowned. How dare he call himself invincible? That was too arrogant. At the same time, he received a message from his junior sister. "Senior brother, this guy just took first place in the purple ranking. You must be careful." "What?" This time, Lu Mu was completely stunned. He stared at the young man in front of him again. Purple ranked first. What about the Imperial Mausoleum? Di Ling and Lin Wuti were both ranked first. Lu Mu was completely stunned. He had experienced how powerful Di Ling was. It was hard to believe that the other party could stand side by side with Di Ling at the same time. But very soon, he snorted coldly. So what? The Imperial Mausoleum's ranking was also from over 100 years ago. Furthermore, the current me is no longer the same me from 60 years ago. So what if he was number 1? In Lu Mu's eyes, a sharp and bright light burst out. "Brat, let me experience what kind of strength you, the number 1 purple rank, have." Lu Mu struck out with his spear. It was as if the world was about to be destroyed. A shocking phenomenon of the heavens and earth accompanied his long spear. Buzz. Lin Xian held the sword of the laws tightly in his hand and fought with his opponent. Every strike caused a huge crack that stretched for millions of miles. The entire sky was completely shattered. Beside him, Yin Nantian was also shocked. Purple ranked first? One had to know that he was only ranked fourth. This brat had actually taken first place. It was really surprising. However, do you think that you can suppress me just because you've taken first place? You're too naive. In the previous test, I didn't use all my means. Yin Nantian's eyes were piercingly cold. As the successor of a great emperor, he had many means that he would not use unless it was a last resort. Although the other party had taken first place, so what? Yin Nantian was not afraid of the other party. In the next moment, he let out a long roar. 9 terrifying emperor runes rushed out of his body and surrounded him. Under his feet, there were the shadows of the 4 great divine beasts, carrying him like a celestial emperor. He soared into the sky and quickly charged forward. His palms formed a seal as if he was going to shatter the entire starry sky. Good. Lin Xian laughed and slashed out with his sword. At the same time, he turned around and punched out. The monstrous flaming fist burned fiercely, and the entire sky was covered in flames. Boom, boom. Lin Xian and Yin Nantian collided 5 times in a row, destroying 1,000,000 miles of the void. In the next moment, Lin Xian turned around again and fought with Lu Mu. The battle between the 3 was earth-shattering. The half-saints who were watching from afar were dumbfounded. This time, they directly witnessed Lin Xian's strength. Now, no one dared to doubt Lin Xian's name anymore. Yin Nantian and Lu Mu also looked solemn. The 2 of them joined forces, but could not defeat the other party. Damn it, are you forcing me to use my trump card? Yin Nantian roared and a shadow rushed out of his body. It turned into a black light and charged directly at Lin Xian. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He felt a touch of fear. With a wave of his hand, the fragments of the law of earth formed a shield around him to protect him. However, in the next moment, the law shield he unleashed was actually cleaved apart. The black light blasted on his body and sent him flying. He retreated hundreds of thousands of miles in a row before he stopped. A crack appeared on his body, but soon it healed. His eyes became fierce. This was more interesting. This was more like the successor of a great emperor. Lin Xian stood up. All kinds of law fragments jumped on his body. At this moment, he was like a peerless god of war. The great dragon sword soul in his body kept roaring. He charged over again and fought with Yin Nantian. Boom, boom. In an instant, the 2 exchanged more than 3,000 blows. Yin Nantian was sent flying, and the black light was also sent flying into the sky. Yin Nantian vomited blood. His body was broken and almost split in half. His black hair fluttered as he roared crazily. On the other side, Lu Mu also looked solemn, but he did not make a move. Lin Wudi, very well, I will remember you. You are very strong, but I am afraid you can't determine the winner in a short time. But don't worry, we will have a chance to fight sooner or later. When the time comes, it will not be like today. I will definitely determine the winner. Lu Mu's voice was sonorous. In the next moment, he soared into the sky and turned to leave. With a wave of his hand, he took his junior sister away. The 2 turned into flowing light and completely disappeared into the sky. Gone. Lu Mu had actually left. The half-saints in the distance were stunned. That was Lu Mu, a famous figure on the starry sky ancient path. But now, he was forced to leave by a newcomer. It was unbelievable. They knew that there would be a storm on the ancient path of stars. When they saw Lin Xian obtain first place in the purple ranking, they immediately fled. What kind of joke was this? They didn't dare to go against such an expert. So at this moment, when he heard Yuheng's 3rd brother's words, he instantly denied it. If these people wanted to throw their lives away, he would not go. Thump, thump, thump. At this moment, the sound of footsteps came from the stairs. Immediately after, a figure walked up. Boss Yu Heng's eyes almost popped out when he saw the figure. Beside him, second and third brothers trembled and almost wet themselves. It's him. Damn it. Why is he here? Could it be that he's here to kill us? Yu Heng and his two brothers felt a chill in their hearts. Lin Xian had just left the Fallen Abyss, and the news of the Fallen Abyss had yet to spread. So, these experts in the Lingdong Pavilion did not recognize him. However, Yu Heng and his two brothers knew him. This was an extremely terrifying existence. So Yu Heng and his two brothers instantly stood up, trembling. Lin Xian was slightly taken aback and glanced at them. He did not expect to meet these three guys here. Feeling Lin Xian's gaze, Yu Heng's second and third brothers almost fainted from fright. Yu Heng's eldest brother tried his best to control himself. He decisively walked up and bowed. Greetings, Lin Gongzi. Previously, we acted recklessly and offended Lin Gongzi. Please punish us, Lin Gongzi. We absolutely will not resist. Yu Heng's second and third brothers also walked over and stood respectfully at the side. How could they resist? Even if the three of them joined forces, they probably would not be able to block a single move from the other party. The surrounding cultivators were all stunned. What was going on? Who was this young man? They were extremely curious about Lin Xian's identity. The powerful aura emitted from Yu Heng and his two brothers shocked these people. Obviously, these three were experts. But at this moment, they were so respectful and reverent towards this young man. Could it be that this young man was an old monster that had lived for several thousand years? All right, I'll spare you this time, Lin Xian said indifferently. These three Yu Heng brothers were really unable to arouse his interest. Hearing Lin Xian's words, Yu Heng and his two brothers heaved a sigh of relief. In the next moment, Yu Heng's eldest brother raised his head and put on a smiling face. Lin Gongzi came to the Spiritual Movement Pavilion to taste the spirit tea, right? I know the Spiritual Movement Pavilion very well. Let me introduce you. The three of them hurriedly invited Lin Xian to the seat of honor. From now on, the three brothers would sit in the best position on the third floor. As soon as they sat down, the surrounding array formed a light screen and enveloped them. The people outside could not see it all. They could only feel a trace of a terrifying aura coming from inside. At the same time, a group of people walked into the main hall on the first floor of the Spiritual Movement Pavilion. This group of people was outstanding, and the aura of a few young people was even more powerful. As soon as they appeared, the cultivators in the main hall exclaimed, "Half-saints! Half-saints had arrived." Although most of the people who came had unfamiliar faces, they did not recognize them. But there was one person that they were incomparably familiar with. Emoli, the prince of the Abyss Kingdom. The Abyss Kingdom was a very powerful kingdom in the Fallen Star. Therefore, as the outstanding prince of the Abyss Kingdom, Emoli was very famous in the Fallen Star. As soon as he appeared, he immediately attracted the attention of the entire Spiritual Movement Pavilion. The Spirit East Pavilion Master even came to greet him personally. Greetings to Prince Emoli. The surrounding people were even more shocked. They knew Prince Emoli, but who were the people around Prince Emoli? It seemed that their aura was not weaker than Prince Emoli's. Even Prince Emoli had to curry favor with these people, but they had never seen these people before. Could it be that they were the talents from the extraterritorial region? Thinking of this, they were extremely shocked. Recently, a large number of talents from the extraterritorial region had come to the Fallen Star to go to the Fallen Abyss. This was no longer a secret. It seemed that these people were also preparing to go to the Fallen Abyss. Sure enough, Emoli said in a deep voice, "These are my distinguished guests. Quickly prepare the best seats for me." What? The leader of the Spiritual Movement Pavilion was stunned. What? You don't want to? Prince Emoli frowned, emitting a trace of biting cold aura. How dare the other party resist him? Chapter 32-22. No. The leader of the Spiritual Movement Pavilion quickly shook his head. Although he had a powerful force behind him, he did not want to go against Prince Emoli. He quickly explained. It was not that he did not want to, but someone had already taken the best seat. The three of them are honorable, so I can't do anything to them. I hope Prince Imoli can forgive me. Humph. Prince Imoli snorted. Who dares to take the seat in front of me? I want to see. He ignored the leader of the spiritual movement pavilion and turned around to speak to the young men behind him. Everyone, I'm sorry for making a fool of myself, but don't worry, I'll go up and take care of them. Prince Imoli waved his hand and took a few experts with him as he walked forward. The young men also showed a joking expression. Oh, there's a good show to watch. Well, let's go and see. They also walked up. In an instant, these people gathered on the third floor of the spiritual movement pavilion. With the arrival of Prince Imoli and the others, everyone on the third floor of the spiritual movement pavilion raised their heads. In the next moment, their faces changed. Who were these people? What a strong aura. There were several half-saints in heaven. That was Prince Imoli. Many people exclaimed. They all knew about Prince Imoli. Why was he here? And he looked aggressive. Who dared to provoke Prince Imoli? After Prince Imoli brought his men up, he stared at the best seat in the distance. In the next moment, his voice turned into a terrifying energy and drilled into the array in front of him. Get out of there. This scene caused the surrounding martial artists to be extremely shocked. They knew that the three people who had entered the seats of honor earlier were all half-saints. It seemed that something big was going to happen. As expected, in the array, Lin Xin frowned. The three brothers were stunned. Then their faces darkened. Damn it! Who dared to disturb them? Who dared to ask them to get out? Lin Gongzi, please wait. I'll go and see who it is. The third brother of Yu Hong stood up. Who was it? Did he want to die? The third brother of Yu Hong came out and shouted coldly. But soon, he was stunned, because he found a group of people standing in front of him. A group of extremely powerful people. He was very familiar with the leader. The next moment, he exclaimed, Prince Imoli, big brother, this is bad. Prince Imoli has brought people here. Yu Hong's third brother hurriedly transmitted his voice. After Boss Yuang heard this, his expression also changed. With a wave of his hand, the formation was removed, and the first and second Yu Hong walked out. They looked ahead with solemn expressions. It was indeed Prince Imoli. The atmosphere on the third floor was extremely tense. Only Lin Xian was still sitting there quietly, calmly sipping his tea. It turned out to be Prince Imoli. What business does your highness have with us? Boss Yuan cupped his fists and said, Who are you people? Prince demonically frowned. He could also feel that the three people before him were half-saints. From the looks of it, the other party's background should not be small. We are the three Yu Hong brothers. What? The three Yu Hong brothers? As soon as he said this, many people around him exclaimed in surprise. Yu Hong and his brothers, could it be the three of them? Heaven, they were extremely powerful. On the Abyss Stone Tablet, they were ranked in the top 20. When the three of them joined forces, they were extremely terrifying. Obviously, everyone had heard of the name of the three Yu Hong brothers. This made the three Yu Hong brothers very proud. In their opinion, so what if the other party was Prince Imoli? They would definitely give them face. Prince Imoli squinted his eyes. The three Yu Hong brothers? But soon, he snorted coldly. If it was just him, he would definitely rope in the three Yu Hong brothers. But now, he did not need to do so, because the people he brought this time were even more powerful than the three Yu Hong brothers. Behind Prince Imoli, there was a disdainful voice. So it's just the three Yu Hong brothers. You three trash dare to be arrogant in front of me? As soon as this was said, everyone's expression changed. Someone dared to not give face to the three Yu Hong brothers? This was simply too shocking. It should be known that Prince Imoli would try his best to rope in the three Yu Hong brothers. One could imagine how terrifying the three Yu Hong brothers were. Moreover, when the three brothers joined forces, they would definitely be terrifying. Ordinary people would not be enemies with the three brothers. Hearing this, the three Yu Hong brothers were immediately enraged. Who dared to call them trash? The third Yu Hong brother roared. Beside him, there was a snowstorm. The snowstorm drifted, and the temperature of the entire third level dropped rapidly. The law of ice fragment. Everyone was horrified. They all retreated to the side. If I say you're trash, you're trash. What? You're not convinced? On Prince Imoli's side, a figure walked out. Heavenly Water Ant, It's actually you. The third Yuhang brother screamed as if he had seen a ghost. The first and second Yuhang brothers also changed their expressions. Since you know who I am, why don't you get lost? The man who walked out was wearing a blue robe. On his cheeks, there were silver-white scales flashing. The expressions of the surrounding experts also changed. Heavenly Water Ant. Could it be that the first orange name on the Abyss leaderboard? These people were all stunned. One should know that although the Yuhang brothers were powerful, the three of them could fight the top 10 orange names. But they were only around the 10th place. But now, the person who walked out was the first orange name on the list. The opponent's strength was much stronger than the three Yuhang brothers. He was very close to the purple name. Therefore, in the eyes of the crowd, the Yu Hongshan brothers had been thoroughly defeated this time. Humph! The people on Prince Mo Li's side also sneered as if they were watching a show. Heavenly Water Ant stood up and said proudly, "Now kneel down and kowtow to me 10 times. If I'm in a good mood, I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'll let you taste the feeling of having your heart eaten by 10,000 poisons." As expected of Heavenly Water Ant, he was domineering. Yes, the three Yuhang brothers were definitely dead. Who asked them to be so reckless as to offend Prince Amoli? They did not expect Prince Amoli to bring Heavenly Water Ant this time. They guessed that the people around him were all top geniuses. To be honest, the three Yuhang brothers were also very nervous. They did not expect Prince Amoli to invite Heavenly Water Ant. They really kicked a metal plate. But this time, the three of them were not too afraid. They even sneered. There were people on the other side. Behind them, there was also a terrifying existence. And this existence would probably make the Heavenly Water Ant kneel on the ground. The first Yuhang brother walked out and said coldly, "So you belong to the side. Why are you here? If there's nothing, hurry up and leave. Don't disturb our Lin Gongzi drinking tea. What's going on?" The surrounding people were so scared that they knelt on the ground. Chapter 32-23. Heavens, they couldn't believe their ears. What was Boss Yuhang doing? Boss Yuhang actually dared to challenge Sky Water Ant. Did he still want to live? As expected, Sky Water Ant's face darkened, and a cold glint exploded from his eyes. Beside him, countless fragments of the Law of Water appeared. Have you three brothers lost your minds recently? You actually dare to challenge me? Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Sky Water Ant took a step forward, and the entire space turned into a sea. Sky Water Ant, don't be arrogant. Yuhang and his brothers froze. They quickly activated their law fragments to resist. At the same time, Boss Yuhang roared, "Do you think you're arrogant? Let me give you a word of advice. Leave quickly. Lin Gongzi is standing behind me. He's not someone you can provoke. Leave quickly and you can live. Otherwise, you'll suffer a terrible fate." Yuhang's second and third brothers also roared, "You want me to leave? I'll suffer a terrible fate?" When Sky Water Ant heard that, he roared with laughter. "Ha ha ha ha, I'm dying of laughter. If Long Tianzhao or Di Ling were to say such words, I would turn and leave. Even an apology would do. But who do you think you are? Someone like him dares to say such words to me?" Sky Water Ant was very disdainful. When he entered, he had already observed Lin Xian. He did not know Lin Xian. Moreover, he did not sense any terrifying aura from Lin Xian. He was already number 1 with an orange name. As long as someone with a purple name did not appear, he would not be afraid. He would not be afraid of a powerful warrior like the demonically prince. Who did he think he was? How dare he show off in front of him? When Boss Yuhang heard that, he sneered, "Sky Water Ant, since you're courting death, don't blame me. Listen carefully." At this point, his voice suddenly became loud and clear, spreading in all directions. "Lin Gongzi behind me is number 1 with a purple name on the Abyss leaderboard. Sky Water Ant, hurry up and kneel, kowtow, and admit your mistake." His voice rumbled like thunder. The surrounding people were all stunned. What? Number 1 with a purple name on the Abyss leaderboard. Heavens, how is this possible? When the Sky Water Ant heard this, he laughed heartily. "I say, you three trash's heads are really stuck in a door. The purple one is ranked first. but it's an imperial mausoleum. Who is this kid? Why have I never heard of him? He laughed until tears came out of his eyes. Initially, he thought that the other party was a formidable genius. Who would have thought that the other party was actually a swindler? These three Yuheng brothers are really idiots. The first place on the Abyss rankings had been maintained for over 100 years, and it had always been Di Ling. When had it ever changed? Are we idiots? I think you're the idiot. Yuheng's second brother also sneered. How many years ago was your information? Our Lin Gongzi had just obtained first place. It was on par with the Imperial Mausoleum. I advise you to apologize quickly. What? First place. It was on par with the Imperial Mausoleum. How dare someone like him claim to be number one? The Skywater ant sneered. He took a step forward, and the endless sea turned into huge waves that surged forward. The terrifying fragments of the law of water rushed over. The faces of the Yu Hung brothers changed as they roared madly. However, in the next moment, they were sent flying. So powerful. This Skywater ant was really too terrifying. The other party's aura alone made them unable to resist. Was this the orange one ranked first? It was really too powerful. The Yu Hung brothers were shocked. The surrounding people were even more horrified. It seemed that this time, the person who offended the Skywater ant was really dead. The Yu Hung brothers' faces were ugly. They could not beat the Skywater ant at all. They could only look at Lin Xian. Lin Xian's expression was calm. The terrifying wave attack just now did not cause any harm to him at all. He slowly put down the glazed teacup. Then, he raised his head and looked to the front left. The law of water fragment? Skywater ant, the orange one ranked first. Lin Xian said 3 titles in a row. The power was not bad, but that was all. I have no interest in fighting with you. Leave quickly. Lin Xian waved his hand. You're really courting death. Do you really think you're the purple one ranked first? How dare you say such words to me? The Skywater ant's eyes shone with a piercing light. The surrounding geniuses, Prince Amoli, and the others all sneered. Daring to offend the Skywater ant would definitely lead to a tragic end. The Skywater ant was furious. His palm pushed out horizontally. Suddenly, the terrifying law of water fragments intertwined, dyeing the entire void blue. The monstrous ocean and violent waves shattered the void, instantly enveloping Lin Xian. Die for me. Ocean bind. This attack was very terrifying. Even if a half-saint was enveloped by it, he would be ground into a bloody mist by the strangling power of the ocean. Lin Xian felt the terrifying law of water fragments forming a strangling power, trying to crush his body. However, his body wasn't so easily broken. The law of water fragments hit his body, making clanging sounds. It was like a million thunderbolts. However, Lin Xian sat there, allowing the other party to hit him without moving an inch. When the seawater disappeared, the surrounding people were stunned. The Skywater ant's pupils shrank. How could he not be injured? He felt like he was dreaming. His opponent should have been turned into a bloody mist. Why was he not injured at all? What kind of body did that damn brat have? Was he still human? The Prince Amoli and the others were also shocked. If his opponent was not wearing any top-tier armor, his body would be too terrifying. Good boy, you do have some skills. No wonder you dare to be so arrogant and go against me. However, do you think that your body is strong enough to withstand my law of water? You are too naive. Water demon pressure. Explode. As the Skywater ant roared, the void above Lin Xian kept shattering, forming a terrifying black hole. Endless fragments of the law of water formed 9,999 waves that came crashing down from the sky. The pressure was too strong. The surrounding people all vomited blood and flew backward, their faces full of horror. Even the bodies of Yu Hong and his brothers trembled as they retreated to the side. Under the water pressure, they could not resist at all. Even their souls would be crushed. Ha ha ha. Let's see how you die this time. The Skywater ant's lips curled into a cold smile. This time, he did not believe that Lin Xian could withstand it. Facing the 9,999 terrifying waves, Lin Xian's 9 sons' divine body shone with an unparalleled radiance to contend against them. The next moment, he looked up. Golden runes flashed in his eyes, turning into golden law fragments, forming a golden sword light that shot upward. The sword rippled, and the surrounding void was completely golden. Everyone trembled as if they had been pierced by the sword. Something shocking happened. Chapter 32:24. 9,999 terrifying waves were split open by the sword. A terrifying crack appeared in the middle, and it could not be healed. What? It was split open. Prince Emoli and the others were shocked. Skywater Ant's pupils shrank. This was impossible. He screamed like a madman. On the other side, Lin Xian stood up. As he stood up, the golden sword light on his body filled the 9 heavens and 10 lands. All the waves in the void were pierced through and obliterated by the sword chi. You want to fight me? Are you sure? Lin Xian asked coldly. His words transformed into tens of thousands of golden sword lights that pressed down on the void, causing Prince Emoli and the others to tremble. The Skywater Ant's face turned pale. Just the terrifying power in the voice caused the blood in his body to churn. Damn it! Who is this person? Why have I never heard of such a terrifying young expert? Who the hell are you? Skywater Ant asked in a low voice. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. I am Lin Wudi. Yu Hong and his brothers shouted excitedly from afar. Haha, Skywater Ant, I told you that Lin Gongzi is the new #1 on the Abyss board. How dare you challenge him? You are overestimating yourself. Lin Wudi, the new #1 on the Abyss board. The crowd was shocked. They did not believe it before and thought it was a joke. But now, they had to believe it. Skywater Ant was terrifying. He was the #1 on the orange ranking. But now, he was suppressed by Lin Wudi's aura and could not fight back. Only the #1 on the purple ranking could do such a thing. So it was Lin Gongzi. Please forgive me. Skywater Ant clenched his fist and said. Although he was unwilling, he did not dare to fight again. The aura that Lin Wudi gave off was too powerful. Lin Xian nodded slightly and put away the golden sword light that filled the sky. He sat down again and poured himself a cup. Yu Hong and his brothers heaved a sigh of relief and walked over. They looked around with pride in their eyes. Prince Emoli also walked out. It was Lin Gongzi. Sorry. I wonder if young Master Lin would do me the honor and allow me to properly entertain you. Prince Emoli wanted to rope Lin Xian in. After all, Lin Xian was the first on the purple ranking. They were very strong, far surpassing the heavenly water ant and the others. If he could win over the Fallen Kingdom, then he would undoubtedly become the crown prince of the Fallen Kingdom. Furthermore, he would become the next emperor. Not interested, Lin Xian said indifferently. Hearing this, Prince Emoli frowned. At this moment, a black-robed man beside him snorted. Brat, you really refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. The prince gave you face, and you actually dared to refuse? Did he really think that he could strut around just because he was #1 on the leaderboard? He was really courting death. Don't forget, this is the place where you feel most at ease. This man was one of the generals under Prince Emoli. His strength had reached the sage-to-be level, and he was very strong. Moreover, he cultivated the law of darkness. Although he did not participate in the Abyss test, he was very confident in himself. Previously, he was somewhat disdainful of the heavenly water ant and the others. In his opinion, as long as the prince was willing, all these people would come over. They would submit to the prince. But now, the prince had extended an invitation, and the other party dared to refuse. This made him feel incomparably furious. Not good. Hearing this, the heavenly water ant's expression changed. Prince Emoli raised his eyebrows and was about to stop him. In the next moment, they were stunned, because Lin Xian snorted. Noisy. With a wave of his hand, a flaming palm surged over and instantly hit the black-robed man, sending him flying. Smack. A clear sound was heard. The black-robed man's face was smashed. Get lost, Lin Xian said coldly. This scene was too sudden. The surrounding people were all stunned. Even the Yu Hongshan brothers were stunned. They did not expect Lin Xian to be so decisive. He dared to hit the people around Prince Emoli roar. I'll kill you. The black-robed man flew over. Black law fragments appeared on his body, and a terrifying aura surged out. The surrounding light suddenly dimmed as if it was going to be night. Abyss. Prince Emoli reached out and stopped him. He then turned around and stared at Lin Xian. You dare to hit my people? That's a bit too overbearing. It seemed that Prince Emoli was angry. The people around him were trembling in fear. Lin Xian shook the teacup in his hand and said indifferently, Your people? Then control them well. Don't let them yell in front of me, because you don't have the right. Arrogant. Everyone's scalp went numb. They already thought that Prince Emoli was arrogant enough, but they did not expect Lin Xian to be even more arrogant than them. Not qualified? He said that Prince Emoli and the others were not qualified. How arrogant was that? Good, good, good. Hearing those arrogant words, Prince Emoli was so angry that he laughed. I'm not qualified? How many years has it been since someone dared to talk to me like that? Previously, I respected you as a prodigy and thought that you were a promising talent. That's why I invited you. Since you don't know what's good for you, then don't blame me. Abyss, you can do it now. Roar. The black-robed man roared and rushed over. In the next moment, the entire third floor was plunged into complete darkness. It was so dark that one couldn't even see their own fingers. Everyone seemed to have been robbed of their vision and soul senses. Law of darkness. Countless people screamed in horror and hid in the corner, not daring to show their faces. Yu Hong and his brothers were also shocked. They quickly defended and at the same time, they quickly retreated. They could not withstand the energy at all. Lin Xian snorted. Law of darkness? Do you really think that you can rob all light? Let me tell you today, there are strong and weak laws. Lin Xian's voice rang out. In the next moment, the law of fire shone on his body and burned fiercely. The nine-yang divine body erupted with an unparalleled light. Suddenly, like a flame in the darkness, it appeared in an instant. At this moment, everyone saw it, and they were incomparably shocked. Heaven could actually soar with fire. This person's law of fire was so powerful. Extinguish. In the void, a cold voice came. The law of darkness quickly swallowed the fire. However, he could not do it at all. The fire, from the beginning, became stronger and stronger. Finally, like a sea of fire, it began to spread in all directions. The darkness faded. A figure appeared in mid-air. He stopped there with an awkward expression and his eyes were filled with shock. He was the black-robed man. At this moment, the black-robed man had already flown behind Lin Xian and was ready to attack. However, before he could make a move, his law of darkness had already been broken. Sneak attack me? Lin Xian turned his head, his eyes bursting with a cold light. He clenched his fist and punched out. With a whoosh, at this moment, Lin Xian became the god of fire. The violent fist turned into a fire dragon that spread out and pierced through the 9 heavens. Boom! The black-robed man was sent flying in an instant, his body torn apart. Chapter 32:25. He screamed and ran back to Prince Emoli's side to reassemble his body. His face was incomparably pale, and his eyes were filled with intense fear. Get lost, Lin Xian said again. Kid, you're too arrogant. Prince Emoli was trembling with anger. Yi Futian was in his territory, and he asked him to get lost. If this got out, how could he survive in the future? How could he fight for the position of crown prince? Everyone, please lend me a helping hand. Prince Emoli turned around and bowed slightly to the young geniuses behind him. What? The geniuses behind him were stunned. They were here to help Prince Emoli, but they did not expect Prince Emoli to ask them to deal with the number 1 on the Abyss leaderboard. They hesitated. Don't worry, I have experts on my side too. As he spoke, 2 old men walked out from beside him. At the same time, he continued, this person is strong, but I'm sure he can't be number 1 on the leaderboard. Maybe he's just a purple name and came out to show off his power. Can't we take him down if we work together? Don't worry, as long as we take him down, I'll double the conditions I promised you before. Really? The genius's pupil shrank. Double the amount. This was simply too generous. They did not agree to help Prince Emoli unconditionally. They must have agreed on the conditions. However, if the conditions were doubled, even they would not be able to refuse. All right. Skywater Ant gritted his teeth and nodded. The other geniuses around him nodded as well. All right, let's work together. I'd like to see how strong this kid is. The geniuses stepped forward. At the same time, there were two other elders. There were 7 of them, 7 half-saints facing Lin Xin together. The people around them were going crazy. Oh my God, this lineup is too strong. Can he really take it? Even the number 1 on the Abyss leaderboard might not be able to take it. After all, there are 7 half-saints. Every one of them is terrifying. Now that they're working together, they're definitely strong. Master, be careful. Yu Hong and his brothers also walked up. They looked very nervous. 7 half-saints. Every one of them is stronger than them. Even if one of them attacked, the 3 brothers would have to fight with all their strength. Such a lineup was simply too terrifying. Therefore, they began to worry about Lin Xian. Young master, if the 3 of us work together, we can hold back one of them. No, at most, we can fight against 2. As for the remaining 5, before boss could finish speaking, Lin Xian waved his hand. No need. You guys can just stand aside and watch. What? After a while, the boss was stunned. The 2 brothers beside him were also stunned. What was the meaning of this? From the looks of it, he seemed to want to fight 7 half-saints alone. Thinking of this possibility, the 3 brothers sucked in a breath of cold air. Heavens, isn't this too unbelievable? Lin Xian walked out, looked to the front, and said coldly, Do the 7 of you really want to fight me? Kid, if you apologize obediently now, we can still give you a way out. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. An elder said coldly. He was also one of Emoli's men. Bow his head and apologize? I'm afraid you don't have the qualifications to do so, right? Lin Xian shook his head in disdain. Show me what you've got. This kid, does he really want to fight? Those were 7 half-saints, after all. The surrounding people were all stunned. The half-saints on the opposite side were also angry, and then their faces darkened. Their eyes were filled with monstrous anger. How dare he look down on them? Good kid, you're really arrogant. However, I wonder if you have the ability to be arrogant? He Yuan sneered. He first used the law of darkness. Suddenly, the sky darkened, and one couldn't see his fingers in front of him. At the same time, the 7 half-saints on the opposite side quickly rushed over. It's over. That kid is really dead this time. This was the thought in everyone's mind. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Monstrous light rushed out of his body, and he instantly broke the law of darkness. At this time, the 7 half-saints were still in front of him and firmly surrounded him. Sword of Darkness. In He Yuan's hand, the law of darkness condensed into a pitch-black demonic sword, emitting a cold aura. The sword pierced toward Lin Xian's head. Buzz. On the other side, a blue rod pressed down from the sky like a mountain. The void was instantly blasted apart. Terrifying law fragments danced in the air. The one who attacked was the Skywater Ant. At this moment, he no longer had a handsome appearance, but was incomparably ferocious. His body was much larger than before. Countless silver-white scales appeared on his body. He was one of the 10,000 ancient races, the descendant of the ancient heavenly horned ant. The ancient heavenly horned ant had great strength and boundless strength. The Skywater Ant inherited this bloodline, so its strength was extremely terrifying. In addition, what he comprehended was the law of water. With a monstrous aura, he instantly destroyed everything. Everyone felt that their bodies were about to collapse. The other 5 half-saints also attacked crazily. Each of them was extremely terrifying. It's over. The Yu Hong brothers and the others trembled. If they faced such an attack, they would probably be instantly turned into ashes. Lin Xian faced the 7 half-saints' terrifying attacks and shouted angrily. Immediately, his palm danced, and the power of annihilation formed a vortex around him. Immediately, all of the attacks rapidly collapsed under the law of annihilation. To actually be able to neutralize our attacks, we really underestimated you. But so what? This time, The 7 of us joined hands. Can you neutralize it? An old man sneered. It was indeed so. Although the 7 people's attacks were dim, it was impossible to shatter them. Especially the Sky Water Ant's attack, it was barely affected. Lin Xian snorted coldly and urged the law of annihilation again, finally destroying 2 people's attacks. However, although the other 5 people's attacks were dim, they still shattered the law of annihilation fragments. Haha, kid. Let's see what ability you have this time. Go to hell for me. These people were ferocious. Lin Xian was fearless. With a wave of his palm, the boundless sea waves surged out again. The boundless sea instantly formed a soft power, making these people's attacks seem to have entered a swamp, being blocked again. The law of water. The Sky Water Ant's pupils constricted. The other party actually also knew the law of water. This kid actually grasped 2 types of laws. This really surprised them. The Sky Water Ant's expression was solemn. He remembered that the other party should also know a golden law. Previously, it was that golden law that split his attack apart with a sword. Heavens, could it be that he knows 3 types of laws? Thinking of this, his expression turned cold. Today, he might be able to take this opportunity to get rid of this guy. The power of Lin Xian's law was beyond their imagination. Therefore, the law of water fragment broke the 3 people's attacks again. In the end, there were only 3 people left. They were He Yuan, the Sky Water Ant, and the old man. The 3 of them charged through the seawater and charged towards Lin Xian. This time, you don't have any special abilities, right? Let's see how you can dodge this. Chapter 32:26. Lin Xian was extremely calm as he looked at the 3 people charging at him. Did he not have any superpower? What a joke. A beam of golden sword chi shot out from his left hand and slashed at Sky Water Ant. His right hand turned into a sun and blasted at He Yuan. As for the black-robed elder, he did not care at all. Boom. The next moment, an earth-shattering sound was heard. The golden rule sword tore Sky Water Ant's attack apart. Not only that, Sky Water Ant's arms were shattered again. He spat out blood and flew backward. He Yuan did not have it easy either. The golden fist bloomed with unparalleled flames like a real sun. He was still bleeding, and the precepts on him were almost ignited. He let out a miserable cry and flew out as well. Seeing this, the people in the distance were shocked. Prince Emoli held his breath, because they still had one more person. That was indeed the case. The last black-robed old man smiled coldly. Great, he was too careless. Although he had defeated 2 half-saints, he still had him. His attack could definitely severely injure him. If he was lucky, he could even kill him in one move. Clang! The superpower in his hand blasted at Lin Xian, bursting with unparalleled light. The surrounding space began to shatter rapidly. Huge cracks began to appear one after another. Hee, you're dead now. The black-robed elder sneered. But soon, his smile froze. How could this be? You're not dead? He was stunned. In the sky full of energy, Lin Xian turned his head and stared at him with cold eyes. Oh no, he was not injured. His physique was way too strong. What kind of body was this? The black-robed elder was scared out of his wits. He turned around and tried to escape. He screamed as his body was split in half. A golden rule sword fell from the sky and slashed the void. At the same time, it split the black-robed elder. The black-robed patriarch screamed in agony. The law fragments on his body flashed rapidly as he tried to reassemble his body. Lin Xian harumphed coldly. With a swing of his golden sword, the fragments of the rules of metal transformed into a golden lotus encapsulating the old man's figure once again. He executed the heavenly secret divine eyes, and his golden pupils combined with the law of fire fragment to execute the soul-burning secret technique. It ignited the soul of the black-robed old man. The black-robed old man screamed like a madman as he was instantly killed. What? Dead. A half-saint was mercilessly slaughtered just like that? Those people were all stunned. They did not dare to believe what was happening before their eyes. Especially Prince Emoli and the others. Their bodies trembled and they almost knelt on the ground. Wasn't this a little too powerful? The 7 half-saints attacked, but they were unable to do anything to him. Instead, they were injured by him. He had even killed a half-saint. This kind of battle record was really unimaginable. After killing the black-robed old man, Lin Xian turned his head and looked at Skywater Ant, He Yuan, and the others. Immediately, the 6 half-saints trembled. Skywater Ant and He Yuan's scalps were about to explode. Their eyes were filled with endless fear. Too powerful. Damn it, could it be that he was really ranked first? At this moment, they no longer dared to have any doubts. This kind of strength was absolutely terrifying. Now, they should think about how to save their own lives. Seeing Lin Xian's aura getting stronger and stronger, as if he had no intention of stopping, he quickly screamed, "Stop, don't fight anymore." Boom. Lin Xian didn't pay attention to the other party's words. He took a step forward, and his palm, accompanied by terrifying laws, blasted out. This punch was extremely heavy, as if 100,000 mountains were pressing down from the sky. The fragment of the law of Earth rushed over with a terrifying fist. Don't fight anymore? What a joke. These people wanted to kill him. Now that they couldn't beat him, they gave up? There was no such logic in this world. Boom. Lin Xian's punch was extremely powerful. Opposite him, He Yuan, Skywater Ant, and the others felt their scalps tingle. They quickly dodged, but the area covered by the fist was simply too wide. They couldn't dodge it. Not to mention them, even Prince Emoli was within the attack range of this punch. See God Shield. The Skywater Ant roared furiously as boundless water laws formed a dense shield of light around him. It was like 100,000 waves of the sea that surrounded him. He Yuan also blended into the darkness, as if he had turned into a black cloud. The other half-saints also quickly defended. Even Prince Emoli huffed coldly. Gray demonic runes appeared on his body. Boom. After this attack, the sky fell and the earth cracked. The void cracked. The entire spiritual movement pavilion was shaking nonstop. The surrounding array flickered, as if it was about to break. It was too terrifying. If it weren't for the protection of the spiritual movement pavilion's top array, this attack would have turned it into ashes. After this attack, the half-saints' blood boiled. Their faces paled. His expression was grave. This attack was too powerful. It was as if a star was pressing down on them. Even their bones were split open. Boom. After one punch, another one came. Lin Xian used the law of Earth, which became heavier and heavier. It was as if it really carried the world of stars to fight against his opponent. Hazy mountains appeared in the sky. One after another, they were tens of thousands of feet tall. This superpower made these people scream in fear. Stop. We admit defeat. Stop fighting. Skywater Ant also screamed. Many of his bones had already been broken. Prince Emoli roared and quickly attacked. I'm the prince of the fallen country. If you kill me, I'll make sure you can't leave the fallen star. As soon as Prince Emoli finished speaking, a blue thunderbolt fell from the sky among the countless mountain shadows. It turned into a sword shadow and instantly split Prince Emoli's body. Prince Emoli's soul screamed. He regrouped with his body and quickly retreated. The surrounding half-saints surrounded Prince Emoli, protecting him. At the same time, they were terrified. How could Yi Futian split a prince with one move under the protection of so many half-saints? This was too overpowered. I was wrong before. Please forgive me. Skywater Ant didn't dare to be arrogant anymore. He quickly apologized. Beside him, He Yuan still wanted to resist, but the next moment, he was punched again. He also quickly begged for mercy. Lin Gongzi, I was wrong. I apologize. The surrounding half-saints all apologized. For a moment, no one dared to fight against Lin Xian. Lin Xian retracted his fist, but the law of Earth fragments were still circling in the sky. Thousands of mountains pressed down on the sky, making it hard for people to breathe. He looked ahead and said coldly, "Is an apology enough? I can take your lives, but you must break your own arms and pierce your own hearts with a martial sword." This was a punishment usually used by the large sects of the sacred lands to punish disciples who broke the rules. Now, Lin Xian wanted to use this punishment to deal with Skywater Ant, He Yuan, and the others. Hearing this, Skywater Ant, He Yuan, and the others' expressions turned ugly. If they did that, wouldn't they admit that they were juniors to Yi Futian? How could they accept that? Chapter 32:27. You don't want to? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Suddenly, the law of earth pressed down from the sky. Fragments of the law of fire circled around him, and a light sword of the law of gold flowed between his palms. Lin Xian's actions made Skywater Ant, He Yuan, and the others feel their scalps tingle. They knew that if they did not act, they would end up in a miserable state. So in the next moment, these people gritted their teeth and roared. The light of the law cut off their arms. Then it formed a light sword and pierced their hearts. Poof! Half-Saint Snow fell, and the scene was very shocking. The experts who were watching the battle were all stunned. Oh my God! Did these people really bow down? Several half-saints were stunned. Such a cruel punishment, but they all bowed their heads to Lin Xian. Lin Xian looked away from these people, and then at Prince Emoli and the others. He said coldly, "What about you?" "What?" Prince Emoli's face darkened. Damn it, did Yi Futian want him to use the same punishment? How could he bow down to someone else? After all, he was the prince of fallen country. Kid, you're too arrogant. You want me to bow down to you? You're overestimating yourself. I had some trump cards that I didn't want to use. But since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Elder Huayu, come out. As Prince Emoli's voice fell, the void behind him shattered, and a figure walked out. It was an elder with a pair of gray wings on his back. He emitted a terrible and overwhelming aura. He took a step forward, and the entire world began to shake. Everyone was shocked. He Yuan, Skywater Ant, and the others' pupils shrank. A half-saint, and an extremely powerful one at that. Was this a protector? They were stunned. They did not expect Prince Emoli to have a protector. Elder Huayu walked out. He looked at Lin Xian with a grave expression. The reason for that was because he could sense a terrifying power from Lin Xian's body. He was an expert. We can't fight here. Why don't we fight outside? Elder Huayu said coldly. Okay. Lin Xian strode out. The two of them exited the Spirit Movement Pavilion. Elder Huayu let out a long laugh and informed the city lord to activate the ancient battle platform. His voice reverberated throughout the city. Instantly, everyone was stunned. What? Ancient battle platform? Someone wanted to activate the ancient battle platform? Heavens, who is it that wants a life and death battle? The ancient battle platform hasn't been opened for over 1,000 years, right? These people were all crazy. He Yuan, Skywater Ant, and the others were also extremely shocked. The Yuhang brothers were extremely nervous. Prince Emoli smirked coldly. He was confident in his protector. Within the city, the ground trembled and the array formation rumbled. An ancient battle platform slowly appeared. This battle platform was extremely simple and unadorned. Furthermore, it was extremely huge and was covered with Dao runes. This was a place where experts fought in ancient times. In fact, it was stained with the blood of countless experts. It was accompanied by a monstrous aura. Bring it on. Elder He Yu landed on the ancient battle platform and looked at Lin Xian. Let me see what capabilities you have to say such words to the Prince of Emoli ancient battle platform. Protector. Lin Xian squinted his eyes and spoke. Someone like him deserved a protector? He probably couldn't even walk on the Dao. Lin Xian's voice was filled with disdain. A protector was a configuration that only top geniuses had. However, in Lin Xian's eyes, the Prince of Emoli was not a top genius. He was probably just an ordinary martial artist. He might even be inferior to an ordinary martial artist. When the others heard this, their scalps went numb. The Prince of Emoli's face was terrifyingly dark. He was so angry that his entire body trembled. Elder Heyu, kill him for me. No one had ever dared to look down on him like this. There was no point in talking. Let's do it. Elder Heyu snorted coldly. Suddenly, he let out a long howl. Gray laws circled in the sky, forming a gray pagoda. It floated up and down. Falling laws. When Yuan, Skywater Ant, and the others saw this, their scalps went numb. He had actually comprehended the falling laws. Heavens, that Lin Xian was probably in danger. Yes, the falling laws. However, the laws in the falling star would definitely be more powerful if used here. That kid would probably be difficult to deal with. The surrounding half-saints discussed fervently. None of them were optimistic about Lin Xian's chances. Yu Hong and his brothers were even more nervous. Falling laws? They were about to faint from fright. They did not know if Lin Gongzi could withstand it. Lin Xian squinted his eyes. Falling laws? Very well, let me experience it for myself. He was not even afraid of falling into the abyss. Why would he be afraid of the falling laws? He formed a seal with his palm. Countless fragments of the fire laws formed a golden crow. It followed his palm and pushed out. Boom! The golden crow spread its wings and soared. A sea of fire filled the sky, dyeing the entire sky red. The huge ancient battle platform was completely enveloped. Buzz! This surge of energy directly activated the array on the fighting stage. Tao inscriptions appeared and covered the sky, completely enveloping the battle platform. The onlookers outside heaved a sigh of relief. Otherwise, they would not be able to withstand the aftermath of this energy. He actually dared to take the initiative to attack? Elder Huiyu roared and waved his hand. Immediately, the gray pagoda above his head rapidly descended. There were terrifying runes on the pagoda. Along with the fragments of the falling laws, the aura that hung down turned into the shadow of the falling abyss and enveloped Lin Xian. With a boom, he collided with the golden crow. In the next moment, energy filled the sky. Endless fragments of laws surrounded them in all directions. After one exchange, the two stopped. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back, looking calm. Opposite him, Elder Huiyu laughed loudly. Good, not bad. You are indeed a top genius. In the past 800 years, as a guardian, I have killed many top geniuses. Today, you will not be an exception. He roared, and the gray wings on his back flapped rapidly, leaving behind an afterimage in the sky. In an instant, he turned into a black lightning bolt and rushed over. The gray pagoda above his head was also constantly attacking. The falling laws caused the entire battle platform to be in chaos. Fall for me. The falling laws were not only powerful, but they could also affect a person's soul, causing them to fall and not want to fight. They would become depressed and eventually turn into a pile of bones. When the falling laws appeared, the martial artists watching the battle from afar shook their heads and sighed. They had heavy hearts and looked like they wanted to commit suicide. Lin Xian was the first to bear the brunt. His soul felt an extremely strong impact, but soon, he snorted coldly. You want to destroy my soul with the mere falling laws? You are overestimating yourself. Die for me. The great dragon soared soul in his body roared. Lin Xian's expression was extremely ferocious. His eyes shone with a biting cold light. The golden sword of laws shone and slashed down with the great dragon sword soul. Chapter 32-28. Clang. The metal law focused on attacking, and the dragon sword soul could destroy everything. When the two were combined, the power was truly terrifying to the extreme. The sword sliced apart the gray fog, and even the weakest nomological fragment was sliced apart. The gray pagoda was sent flying by the sword, and kept shaking. So powerful. Seeing this, Elder Greyrobe's pupil shrank. His opponent's sword chi was so sharp that it made his hair stand on end. The next moment, he screamed, because he found that the sword light had become terrifying again. It was like a golden dragon, rushing toward him. At the same time, countless mountains appeared around him, surrounding him. There were also terrifying waves above and below him, about to swallow him. Oh no, 3 laws. Elder Greyrobe was scared out of his wits. He yelled and performed a secret technique. Boom! The attacks of the 3 laws shattered the world and turned it into nothingness. The surrounding half-saints trembled. Prince Amoli and the others were also pale. It was too powerful. They couldn't resist it at all. He wondered if the gray-robed elder would be able to block it. They'd been worried about Lin Xian, but in an instant, they found that the situation had taken a shocking turn. Lin Xian was too powerful. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He saw what was happening with God's eye of weather. He saw Elder Grey Robe controlling the falling pagoda to block it. It was fixed in the void. Behind him, there was a huge crack, very similar to the falling abyss. That big crack swallowed all the surrounding energy and laws. Was this the illusion of the falling abyss? Had he forcefully performed it? Lin Xian was shocked. It was indeed the law of falling. On the falling star, it was extremely powerful. Indeed, if it were anywhere else, Elder Grey Robe would have been killed. But on the falling star, there were falling auras everywhere. And with the falling abyss, Elder Grey Robe had comprehended the law of falling and could perform all the falling auras in the world. He could even use part of the power of the falling abyss. It was blocked. Prince Amoli and the others breathed a sigh of relief. He Yuan, Skywater Ant, and the others were shocked beyond words. This Elder He Yu was truly too terrifying. No wonder he could become a Tao protector. That was indeed the case. With him here, a normal half-saint couldn't hurt Prince Amoli at all. Not to mention ordinary half-saints, even 3 or 4 half-saints wouldn't be able to do anything to him. However, could he really contend against Lin Xian? Lin Xian had injured 7 half-saints with a single stroke of his sword. Lin Xian coldly snorted, turned into a sword shadow, and rushed out. Terrifying laws danced on his body as he instantly arrived in front of Elder Huiyu. His palm was like a dragon's head, grabbing forward. Damn it, block it for me. The gray-robed elder controlled the pagoda above his head to descend and continuously expand. It was as if a huge mountain was standing in front of him. Clang! A terrifying sound rang out. Su Chen's palm landed on the pagoda and directly pierced through it. Then, with a shake of his arm, the pagoda fell and shattered into pieces. It was too powerful. Lin Xian had mastered 6 law fragments. His casual strike had unparalleled power. The falling pagoda couldn't block it at all. Seeing this, Elder Huiyu's scalp went numb. A gray rune flashed between his eyebrows, and the abyss behind him became even more solid. He wanted to run away, but the next moment, the golden palm grabbed him. With a boom, he was shattered into pieces, turning into a bloody mist. Blood flowed down from his upper body, piercing through the air and landing on the ancient battle platform, making thunderous noises. The surrounding people were all stupefied. Heavens, could it be that Elder Huiyu had been killed? Prince Amoli's face darkened as well. Lin Xian frowned. Something wasn't right. He opened his heavenly secret godly eyes and looked around. Then he sneered. He really wasn't dead. The bloody mist in the sky all merged into the falling abyss illusion. That illusory figure was incomparably real. In the next moment, the illusion bloomed with light, and a pair of eyes appeared in the crack. However, there was no body. Instead, there were endless falling auras. Each one was like ribbons of light, wrapping around him. In an instant, Lin Xian was tied up like a dumpling. The power was very strange. It seemed to want to pull him into the falling abyss illusion. Fall into hell forever. A ferocious voice came from the illusion. Child's play. Lin Xian was enveloped by the falling auras, but he wasn't afraid. He roared, and the 9 suns' body bloomed with billions of rays of light. On it, the 9 suns' divine fire burned. Each flame carried a law of fire fragment. With a roar that shook the 9 heavens, he punched and kicked like a god of war. Suddenly, the falling auras on his body shattered. In front of him, in the falling abyss illusion, there was a muffled groan. Obviously, the person inside had suffered a backlash. Sure enough, in the next moment, in the valley of the falling abyss illusion, a figure slowly condensed, overlapping with the pair of eyes. Whoosh! Elder Huiyu's body appeared. His face was a little pale, and his expression was incomparably cold. Around him, countless falling auras carried him, as if he was an emissary of the abyss of hell. Kid, you're very strong. so strong that it's beyond my expectations. I've seen many geniuses, and I've also seen many geniuses from outside the realm. However, no one is as powerful as you. However, you shouldn't have provoked me, and you shouldn't have attacked me. Now, it's all over. Following Elder Hui Yu's words, the surrounding falling auras kept surging. Come out, fallen angel. Elder Hui Yu's palms kept forming seals. With a loud shout, a grayish-white rune appeared between his eyebrows. It was abnormally strange. At the same time, the half-saint blood in his body flowed out, 1/3 condensed on the left and 1/3 condensed on the right. As for Elder Hui Yu's body, it instantly started to wither. However, there was still 1/3 left. Therefore, he wouldn't die, but his vitality would be greatly damaged. Fallen angel, condense. Elder Hui Yu kept approaching. The falling laws and his half-saint blood quickly condensed. At the same time, there seemed to be a strange sound between heaven and earth. The falling abyss illusion became even more solid. Seeing this scene, everyone trembled, as if some powerful being was about to descend. Not good. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people's expressions changed. Yu Hong and his brother's teeth chattered. The Skywater ant also screamed. Could it be the legend of the falling abyss? Legend? The surrounding people were puzzled. Chapter 32:29. The Skywater ant hurriedly explained. Rumor had it that the fallen abyss was extremely terrifying. Back then, an earth-shattering battle had taken place here. It was even said that immortals had participated in the battle. Countless experts had died in that battle. Rumor had it that there was an ancient race called the Fallen Angel race. There had been experts from the Fallen Angel race who had died here, and there was more than one. After they died, their souls fell into a deep slumber in the fallen abyss. Rumor had it that some powerful sacrificial summoning could summon their remnant souls to battle. However, such a method was only in the legends. No one had expected Elder Hui Yu to be able to use it. There was such a thing. The surrounding people were even more shocked. Prince Emoli snorted coldly. Let's see how you die this time. He had unlimited confidence in Elder Hui Yu. Lin Xian frowned. The fallen angel race? He saw that 2 fallen angels had already formed on either side of Elder Hui Yu. Those 2 fallen angels were wearing ancient battle armors. Their bodies were grayish-white, and they had fallen wings on their backs. They emitted a terrifying light. Go, tear him to shreds. Elder Hui Yu snorted coldly, and the 2 fallen angels quickly charged over. Boom. Lin Xian was not afraid. He used the laws of sword to contend with them. The 3 of them fought fiercely. Elder Hui Yu did not go forward. Instead, he focused on forming seals behind him. He had to maintain the 2 fallen angels. In his opinion, once the 2 fallen angels appeared, the other party would definitely die. Boom. Lin Xian's sword hit the fallen angel and sent him flying. However, he was stunned in the next moment. He discovered that the fallen angel had only been sent flying backwards, and she quickly returned. The old battle armor on his body was not broken. What a tough body. Lin Xian was extremely shocked. At the same time, the other fallen angel let out a sharp cry. Countless people's souls were about to be pierced through. They frantically retreated. Lin Xian was also affected by the fallen angel's soul attack. Humph! He snorted coldly. The great dragon sword soul in his body let out a loud dragon roar to fight back. The 2 sound waves collided in the sky. Damn it, he actually blocked it. That's impossible. That's the remnant soul of an ancient fallen angel race expert. How did he block it? In the distance, Elder Hui Yu screamed like a madman. To think that even this move of his was unable to do anything to the other party. His face was gloomy as he formed another seal with his palms. Damn it. Kill. Tear him to pieces. Of the 2 fallen angels, one used his powerful physical body to fight Lin Xian in close combat. The other used a strange soul attack to launch a sneak attack. He didn't believe that the other party wouldn't be injured. What a powerful physique. What a terrifying soul attack. It's been a long time since I've met such an interesting opponent. You guys are worthy of my full strength. Lin Xian raised his head and laughed. Heavenly secret god eyes, open. Nine young divine body, open. Great dragon sword soul, open. Lin Xian roared incessantly. His golden eyes carried a terrifying law. Nine Yang's body carried fragments of the law of fire. The great dragon sword soul roared and fused with the law of metal. The law of earth and the law of water continued to swim around him. Lin Xian had countless divine abilities as he continued to fight with the two fallen angels. With a bang, the great dragon sword soul roared and split the fallen angel into two halves from the middle. In addition, a black vortex suddenly appeared in the golden eyes. The law of annihilation combined with the eye technique instantly swallowed the remnant soul of the other fallen angel. After more than 100 moves, the two fallen angels were destroyed by Lin Xian. What? Even the fallen angels couldn't defeat him? The surrounding people were stunned. He Yuan and the others cried out in alarm. Prince Mo Yuan was scared silly. Elder Hui Yu's pupils constricted. Impossible! He screamed like a madman. However, in the next moment, he was scared out of his wits. Lin Xian's sword slashed him into two halves with a splat. Another kick tore his body into pieces. No! Stop it! Elder Hui Yu screamed crazily. The phantom behind him that had fallen into the abyss became more and more solid. He disappeared again, leaving behind only a pair of eyes that floated up and down in the great crack. I have a phantom that has fallen into the abyss. I don't believe that you can kill me. Elder Hui Yu roared crazily. Although he couldn't defeat Lin Xian, it was impossible for Lin Xian to kill him. I can't hurt you? You're too ignorant. Lin Xian stepped on the ground. He had the law of metal in his left hand and the law of water in his right. He reached out with both hands and grabbed the two sides of the abyss crack. Then, he tore it apart. Boom, boom. The heavens fell and the earth split. A terrifying scene occurred. Lin Xian was like a peerless overlord as he tore the phantom that had fallen into the abyss in half. Following his roar, not only did the phantom that had fallen into the abyss crack, but the entire world was also torn in half. From the crack, two halves of a body fell out. It was Elder Hui Yu. He quickly healed himself. He was scared out of his wits. Stop. Stop. You win. I'll make amends. Elder Hui Yu was truly afraid. He had used so many divine abilities and even summoned the fallen angels. However, he still couldn't do anything to Lin Xian. Even the illusion of falling into the abyss that he was so proud of was no longer effective. If they continued fighting, Lin Xian would definitely kill him. Therefore, he didn't dare to fight anymore. Apologize? Admit defeat? Do you think that's possible? Lin Xian snorted. Thousands of sword lights pierced through his eyes and nailed Elder Hui Yu's body to the sky. The power of annihilation made Elder Hui Yu's limbs vanish. Elder Hui Yu screamed like a madman. He had sacrificed 2/3 of his blood to summon the fallen angels. He didn't have much blood left in his body. His strength was also greatly reduced. Now, how could he be Lin Xian's match? Stop. I don't want to fight anymore. I admit defeat. Elder Hui Yu screamed like a madman. I'm willing to accept the punishment of having my arms cut off and a martial sword pierced through my heart. Prince Mo Li will also accept it. Not only that, I'll give you a treasure. Please spare my life and Prince Mo Li's life. Elder Hui Yu kept begging for mercy. He could only lower his head and admit his mistake. He also took out a treasure to appease Lin Xian's anger. He didn't dare to mention the Fallen Kingdom, nor did he dare to threaten Lin Xian. If he angered Lin Xian again, he probably wouldn't be able to survive. Treasure? What treasure do you have that can buy the lives of 2 half-saints? Lin Xian snorted. I do. This treasure is definitely enough to buy my life and Prince Mo Li's. He didn't care about anything else. He took something out of his storage ring. As soon as he took it out, Lin Xian immediately stopped. The people around were also very surprised. What was that? They felt a scorching and monstrous power. It was like a sun. Did Lin Xian get a sun? As soon as Lin Xian caught sight of the item, He immediately set up countless spell formations to surround him and Elder Huiyu. The next moment, he waved his hand and grabbed the sun-like stone in his hand. This is Chapter 32:30. He was too shocked. This was because he felt that the energy and aura contained within this fist-sized stone was too strange. It was more terrifying than all the divine crystals he had ever seen. Sure enough, in the Black Earth, when Heitu saw this, he also screamed. Dao Stone. He actually had a Dao Stone. Heitu, do you know what this is? Lin Xian asked through voice transmission. Of course I know. This thing is too famous. Heitu hurriedly explained. Dao stones were stones that contained the great Dao of heaven and earth. They were much more terrifying than divine crystals, because divine crystals contained surging energy. As for Dao stones, not only did they have energy, but they also contained the great Dao of heaven and earth. They were very suitable for saints to comprehend. This kind of thing was a treasure even for saints, not to mention half-saints. Who would have thought that this Dao stone would actually have a Dao stone? And from the looks of it, this was a Sun Dao stone. It contained a powerful fire Dao pattern. After Lin Xian heard this, he was extremely shocked and sucked in a breath of cold air. This was actually a Dao stone. No wonder he was incomparably shocked when he saw the patterns on the stone. This was a Dao pattern. Compared to runes, it was even more terrifying. Kid, with this thing, you can condense and form a true law and greatly shorten the time. Since he knew that this was a good thing, how could Lin Xian let it go? He grabbed with his hand and put the Sun Dao stone into the Black Earth. At the same time, he looked forward and asked in a deep voice, Where did you get this thing? Elder Huiyu looked at this scene with a pained expression. That was a Dao stone. It was incomparably precious. If it wasn't for his life, he wouldn't have taken it out. At this moment, when he heard Lin Xian's question, he sighed. Kid, don't be delusional. I obtained this thing by chance. Seeing Lin Xian's gloomy expression, Elder Huiyu was so scared that he trembled and hurriedly explained. You also know that there are many stars and suns in our myriad worlds. Rumor has it that after the Golden Crow clan dies, their bodies will turn into suns. This rumor is true. About 1,000 years ago, when I was traveling in the universe, I met a saint-level golden crow that had passed away. After he died, he formed a sun. At that time, there were 2 people from the star world fighting for this sun. I got a piece of it. I have kept this piece for 1,000 years. Unfortunately, I cultivate the falling law. Otherwise, I would have used it long ago. Then why didn't you take it out to exchange? Lin Xian frowned. Logically speaking, even if he couldn't use this kind of treasure, it would be very easy to exchange it for other treasures. Elder Yu Hua sighed. Bring it back to exchange? What kind of joke was this? This was a Dao stone, something that even saints would be jealous of. If news of this gets out, I might not even be able to keep my life, let alone exchange for items. There will be saints coming after me. Hearing this, Lin Xian frowned. It seemed that the value of this Dao stone was above his imagination. Seeing Lin Xian's gloomy expression, Elder Dao sure trembled. You won't go back on your word, right? Don't worry, I will never tell anyone that you have the Sun Dao stone. I dare to swear on my lightning tribulation that if I tell anyone that you have the Sun Dao stone, I will be struck by lightning and destroyed in both body and soul. Elder Huiyu hurriedly swore. Lin Xian's eyes flashed as he heaved a sigh of relief. This kind of oath was not made randomly, especially at their level. Every time they advanced and broke through, it would be accompanied by a heavenly tribulation. That was a heavenly tribulation formed by the heavenly Dao. It was extremely terrifying. If one swore randomly, it would definitely come true. Therefore, since Elder Huiyu dared to make this oath, it meant that he would not tell anyone about this matter. Don't worry, I, Lin Xian, am a man of my words. Since I said I would let you go, I will definitely let you go. Since you have already made the oath, you can leave. However, that demonly prince must suffer the punishment of having his heart pierced by a martial sword. Yes. Thank you, Lin Gongzi, for showing mercy. Elder Yu heaved a sigh of relief. Although he still had to accept the punishment, at least his life was saved. Lin Xian removed the array. Elder Yu hurriedly flew down to Demonly Prince's side. Elder, are you all right? Demonly Prince asked hurriedly. However, Elder Yu snorted. Without another word, his fingers were like a long knife, cutting Demonly Prince's arms into pieces. At the same time, he formed a grayish-white sword and pierced Demonly Prince's heart. Ah! Demonly Prince screamed crazily. His voice was extremely ferocious. Damn it! Why? Why did you attack me? Everyone else was stunned. Oh my god, what's going on? Isn't Elder Yu the protector of Demonly Prince? Why did he attack? What happened? They did not know. But Demonly snorted. Shut up. Do you want to live? Hearing Elder Yu's words, Demonly Prince trembled and did not dare to say anything else. Elder Yu turned his head and looked at the figure in the sky. He said respectfully, "It should be Lin Gongzi. Sorry for the offense. We'll take our leave." With that, he grabbed Demonly Prince and quickly turned into a ray of light, disappearing into the void. Gone. The Prince of Magic and his protector had actually left. Oh my god, they could not believe it. He Yuan and the others were also extremely shocked. According to normal circumstances, Elder Yu should have died without a doubt. But why did Lin Xian let him go? Could it be that it had something to do with the sun-like light that had appeared? They guessed and were very confused. They felt that it must be a rare treasure. But as for what it was, they did not know. Lin Xian snorted coldly when he saw the heated discussions below. Why? Do any of you want to fight? Feeling Lin Xian's gaze, these people trembled and turned to run. Suddenly, only Lin Xian was left on the ancient battle platform. Everyone else had left. Lin Xian's body shook and quickly disappeared into the void. Next, he carefully hid his aura and changed his location many times. He was worried that someone would follow him. After all, the Sundao Stone was very precious. If word got out, even saints would come after him. He had to be careful. A month later, the Crimson Dragon woke up from his seclusion. He came out of the black earth and roared into the sky. His strength had also increased. Other than the law of thunder and the law of rain, the Crimson Dragon had also comprehended the law of Yun and the law of wind. The fragments of the four great laws revolved around him. The Crimson Dragon breathed out clouds and smoke. He was really powerful. Kid, what happened when I was in seclusion? The Crimson Dragon asked. Lin Xian began to tell him. When the Crimson Dragon heard that Lin Xian had obtained a Sundao Stone, he was stunned. What? Sundao Stone? You really have that? Lin Xian took out the Sundao Stone from the black earth. The Crimson Dragon's pupils shrank. He quickly set up a formation and then looked at it carefully. Chapter 32-31. Good stuff. It's really good stuff. Look at the Tao patterns on it. The Crimson Dragon kept praising. Then, he had a bitter expression. It's a pity that I didn't comprehend the law of fire among the four law fragments. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been so polite. He was drooling. Kid, what are your plans? Are you going to comprehend the Sundao Stone directly? If you go into seclusion, I can help you guard. The Crimson Dragon asked. The Fire Dao Stone contained the Dao pattern of fire. If Lin Xian comprehended it for a few decades, he might really be able to form a true law. Kid, if you're lucky, you can become a sage in 100 years. If you're a little short, it's still 500 years. Within 500 years, you can become a sage. You're really too young. The Crimson Dragon was incomparably excited and envious. Lin Xian frowned slightly. Between 100 and 500 years? That was too long. He shook his head. Was there any other way? 500 years was too long to become a sage? The Crimson Dragon's mouth twitched. Go out and ask around. Are those half-and-half existences unable to take a step forward after 2,000 to 3,000 years? 500 years is already very heaven-defying. Okay? And this is the worst-case scenario. With your talent, you can probably do it in 100 to 200 years. It's still too long. Lin Xian shook his head. When he came to the ancient starry sky path, he didn't have the support of a force behind him. Now, he was alone. Beside him were the Crimson Dragon, the snow-white little monkey, and the Black Earth. If he encountered a peerless expert, it would be difficult for him to deal with him. Therefore, Lin Xian decided that he had to improve as fast as possible and try his best to reach the Sage Realm. After all, he wouldn't forget the fate of the third-generation successor, Yi Gucheng. How fast do you plan to go? The Crimson Dragon asked. Become a sage on the spot. As soon as he said this, the Crimson Dragon sucked in a breath of cold air. At the same time, countless lightning bolts descended from the sky, piercing through the array and striking towards Lin Xian. This scene frightened the Crimson Dragon. He quickly waved his dragon claws and formed a storm in the sky to fight back. Lin Xian let out a roar and lashed out with a punch like a fiery dragon, shattering the lightning into pieces. Boy, did you see that? You have angered the heavens. Even he wants to strike you with lightning. The Crimson Dragon shrunk its neck. There were some words that could not be said carelessly. Indeed, Lin Xian wanted to become a saint. This was too heaven-defying. He knew that only the princes and princesses could become saints on the spot. Such an existence would become a saint the moment he was born. Lin Xian was not an emperor's son, so it was easy to imagine how difficult it would be for him to become a saint. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous. Even he couldn't stop me from walking down the path I want to walk. As he spoke, Lin Xian pointed to the sky. In the sky, countless bolts of lightning appeared again, forming thunderclouds. However, before they landed, they were split apart by Lin Xian's sword. At this moment, He Tu floated out. It's not impossible for you to become a saint, but it's much more difficult. Moreover, it's very difficult to use it. You might even die. Are you sure you want to do this? Hearing this, Lin Xian's eyes lit up. Hey Tu, do you know a way? I do know a way. Moreover, your idea is very similar to his back then. Him back then? Could it be that you're talking about Senior Yi Gucheng? Lin Xian was shocked. Could it be that Senior Yi Gucheng also had such an idea back then? He did have such an idea, He Tu said. So I also know a little about this idea. However, many tens of thousands of years have passed. The things he was looking for back then probably no longer exist. So, you have to look for them again. What are you looking for? Lin Xian asked. Dao stones. Looking for 5 Dao stones. Don't you have the 5 elemental laws? Look for 5 Dao stones. When the time comes, the 5 elemental laws will be combined, allowing you to directly condense the 5 elemental laws, not the law of dispersion. This way, you can break through and become a saint. The power of the laws that you condense will be much stronger than an ordinary saint. Condensing 5 law fragments to form a single law? Lin Xian was extremely surprised. The 5 elemental laws were the most basic and the most ordinary laws. After all, many people cultivated one or a few of the 5 elemental laws of heaven and earth. After becoming a saint, they would also master many laws. For example, there was the water and fire saint who mastered the water and fire elemental laws, 2 completely opposite laws. Their power could be said to be very terrifying. However, the 5 elemental laws that He Tu mentioned were different. The 5 elemental laws that he mentioned were not 5 laws, but 1 law. This law contained 5 elements. It could be said that it was very difficult to condense it. Once it was successfully condensed, its power would be extremely terrifying. After Lin Xian heard this, he was extremely excited. Finally, he found a way to quickly break through and become a saint. He had the 5 elemental laws fragments and the Sun Dao stone. If he could find the other 4 law Dao stones, he would be able to condense the 5 elemental laws. At that time, he would break through and become a saint. Lin Xian and He Tu became more and more excited as they spoke. The Crimson Dragon kept shaking his head. Wait, you seem to be too naive. One had to know that Dao stones were very rare and precious. Even saints might not have them. It would be very difficult for you to find them. Moreover, you still have to find 4. I'm afraid that you'll spend hundreds of years searching for them. This kind of time is enough for you to become a fire saint. Kid, don't forget about the essentials. Upon hearing these words, Lin Xian frowned. It was likely that this search would take a long time. After all, a star world might not even have a single Dao stone. He had to travel through the starry sky. Don't worry about this. Back then, Yigu Chang had already found a way. Heitu said. What way? Lin Xian hurriedly asked. He had never heard of the Langya star. What? The Langya star? Lin Xian was stunned. The Crimson Dragon exclaimed. Could it be the legendary star world? Did it really exist? You actually know about it? Lin Xian was surprised. The Crimson Dragon said, I have the inheritance of the dragon race, so I have read about it before. However, that was many years ago. I didn't expect it to still exist. What kind of existence was it? Lin Xian was even more puzzled. Let me say it. Heitu continued. The Langya star is a very magical star. Moreover, it is very famous in the 10,000 realms because it can deduce everything and answer all the questions you want to ask. You can even ask questions about the great emperors. Of course, you have to pay a price to ask them, or you need a large amount of natural treasures, or you can help them complete a task. In short, the questions you ask are related to the degree of preciousness. As long as you have enough resources, you can go to the Langya star and ask about the whereabouts of the other 4 Dao stones. At that time, you can go and seize and search for these 4 Dao stones. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.